Here we go. We're recording. Michael Gebben, the mind mechanic here. What up, what up, what up? God dang, god dang, god diggity dang. Tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your ideas don't die in your hearts, heads, hard drives. So mindtuneuptimelive.com, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time here on Zoom every single Tuesday. And happy to be here again. It's Thanksgiving, as I said, in the US of A. Excited to be here. Grateful for all of you who listen, who join live and interact and give the good vibes while I record this content. So I'm super grateful for all of you. And I'm grateful for my wife and my family and my closest friends. And I'm really grateful for this technology that we've got people from literally Malta, 2 people from Malta, you know, Mr. Norman been here for months and sharing with a friend and coming back for a second week. So that's always a good sign. I love seeing people come back, getting value from this. And yeah, so just super grateful for all of you who come on here live because I really love the interaction. That's how I love to create content. And I'm continuing to put people in place so that this message can spread beyond this live Zoom once a week, which is why those of you who aren't on here are listening to this on YouTube or somewhere on your favorite podcast platform. But we're going to start getting snippets created from this in the coming weeks and months, and just getting a lot to continue to get the message out there while my main mission is continue to, coach people one-on-one. It's all come full circle after, 2010, doing it with somebody, getting paid the first time to do it, and then pursuing it and having so many people that what I've come to realize, and that's part of the message here today, this aspect, which we'll just dive right into it. But finding more and more every day that there's so many people that what they do, and once they do it, they see how it can be done. And then without awareness, when they hear somebody that may be trying to do something similar to them, it's automatic. It's really easy. Here's how you do it. And what I'm obsessed with is, why aren't people doing it? Everybody that I've talked to by default, who's over the age of 25, 30, 40 years old, has got, as Michelle just put, where is it? I need some mental clarity today. Information overload, right? We are not lacking in information, whether it's free, cheap, expensive, opinions, personal, impersonal, online, offline. Like, the information is not lacking. Your knowledge is not lacking. Like in regards to your level of intelligence to be able to know what to do, at times even know how to do it. So my question is for all of you who are on here today, do you have things that you want? Number one, like things that you don't have today that you want. Yes or no? Simple question up front for all the live listeners here today and all the people who will be listening. Do you have things that you want that you do not have right now today? I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a car, a house, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, money, doesn't matter. Do you have something that you do not have today that you want? Okay, great. So likelihood's high, as we're seeing in the chat, everybody's got something that they want that they do not have. Second question, do you know why you do not have it? Yes or no? We'll just do that first and then we'll get into it. Yes or no? Do you know why you do not have what you want? Do you know why you do not have what you want? Now, third question, why? Why do you not have what you want? Is it a lack of information? You're not capable of doing it? Do you not know how to do it? Do you not know who could help you do it? Why do you not have what you want? So obviously, if you're in the chat, I'm going to be reeling off some of the things that we'll let people roll in here. And if not, I'd love you again, mindtuneuptimelive.com. You can go there, contact forms on there. You can get a hold of me on Facebook, facebook.com/Gebs86. That's where I'm most active. Send me a message on Messenger. My email, michael@themindmechanic.net. Join in the Facebook group. You can join there at mindtuneuptimelive.com and get in on the live chats. Go back to the live ones, leave comments. But I'd love to hear, why do you not have the things that you want that you don't have? And once we start letting those roll in for a second, we're going to get a lot of different answers. And a lot of you are thinking a lot of different things. So you know you have things that you want that you don't have. And then you know in your mind why you don't have that thing. And what I've had to recognize as that for myself, which, you know, these I've really come to find that by default, you know, through the years, you know, I've developed all sorts of different concepts and things that I've talked about, and, the master chef and the order taker, and just a bunch of different concepts that I've talked about, and analogies and metaphors. But what I really love to do is get people to shift their perspective. See, two people ask the same question, one who's done it 75 times and one who's done it once, will have, as a number of people I've heard say recently, the person who's done it 75 times will have wisdom, will have knowledge and wisdom and perspective that the person who's done it once won't. Because what I've found in different industries, sometimes a person who's done something a few times on the surface can look equally as talented as a person who's done it hundreds of times. What I've also seen is that the difference between a person who's done something a few times and yet is doing a great job at something, and a person who's done it hundreds of times or thousands of times or for decades, but not decades, a few times, because I see people all the time who sometimes, you know, financially and even, you know, what they're doing, they're not necessarily excellent at it, whatever that means. But it's because I've used this in the wedding industry a lot, and it can be in any industry, but like if a person shot 17 weddings over the course of 17 years, and then there's a person who shot 17 weddings year one and 25 weddings year two and 5 weddings year 3, maybe they charged and made more, maybe COVID hit, who knows? But like 17 years rolled around and they've shot, 750 weddings. The 17 years isn't automatically make the one person just as talented as the person who's only done it for, a year, because the person who did 17 in a year may have more knowledge and expertise and experience than just a person who is knowledgeable about it. So I'm going to go here and read. Now we've let people roll in here on the chat for a second. So I don't have it. Jenna says, knowing all the steps to get it. Carolyn says, no focus, I think. Deidre says, because I haven't that I was worthy of it. I haven't because I didn't think I was worthy of it. The reason why varies per item. Depends on which one of the things. Mental focus and discipline, definitely not a lack of info. Afraid to ask, maybe, or not knowing how to ask. Ask for help, I'm assuming. Not knowing who to ask or not knowing what to ask. Sometimes creative overload. Mostly for me, it was a loss of focus and a lack of belief. At this point, I now have clarity and confidence. It is a matter of patience. Yeah, I think, seeing Tashina, some of you hear me mention Tashina's name. Tashina has an incredible amount of focus and clarity now, which is why the results, when I get updates and things from her relative to other people, from the time I met her to the time I've met, meeting her and other people at the same time frame, and where she is in a month and a half or 2 months relative to others, is not a byproduct of talent per se. It's not a byproduct that she's better than these people. I don't think that's really the reason usually at all. It's that she took her years of experience doing something, but rather than going over into the self-employment and throwing that all in the trash can and acting like I got to start from scratch and I got to learn all these new things and all these things I don't know how to do, she went and said, I've got all this and it applies over here. And rather than have to learn all these new skills that I don't know, I can take advantage of the skills I do know. And then, that self-belief is so important. Here's what I found too. So, hey, lovely, experience might only come from reps. I believe experience comes from reps, not from years, right? So a person who does any given activity, a specific activity, not 50,000 different activities. If you were to want to learn to play the guitar and you had a great guitar teacher and you spent 6 hours a day practicing the guitar, and somebody spends, 5 hours once a month, it doesn't, the person in 1 month that practices, a lot of hours every day is going to be way further along than a person who practices the equivalent of one of their days. So in 30 days, they're 30x ahead of the other person. I do believe that. Do I believe there's ways to collapse things? Absolutely. But one of the things that I really believe in regards to why we don't have things and obsessing over why people don't have what they want, there's a lot of different reasons that people can give, but make sure your reason is not, I don't know how, or I can't, or that's not who I am. What I found is that for me, one of the big things is I don't want to, right? If I'm not really willing to do certain things, then I have to find an alternative way, because sometimes there's a clear path and that path you don't want to go down. I think a lot of the courses and programs and things that are out there for people to learn, there's a lot of ones out there that are great. But what I'm trying with the message that I'm putting out here every week for people to recognize and tuning up their minds and having higher levels of discernment so that they can accelerate having what they want in life, what they dream about that they don't currently have, but also being at peace, at total peace now, rather than creating a gap of I should be somewhere else other than where I am. You are where you are, and that's okay, based on all the decisions you made up until today. But you can, because everything in the future is your imagination. Whether you think you can or think you can't, as Henry Ford always said, you're right. So you can create with your imagination, because, some of you may, I'm not really super creative, or I don't have a major imagination. You do, because anything beyond today is in your imagination. Therefore, if you're imagining how things are not going to work, how you've tried that before and it didn't work, you've already called that person and they weren't interested, or, I always seem to fail. It never works out for me. Every time I get to a certain point, I quit. That's all in your imagination, because that may be proof you have in your past, but your past does not have to be a predictor of your future. And so what I've found is that I know that constraints are powerful. So for me, I know that I can put in a good old 15 hours a day of nonstop go, and that will have me achieve certain results faster than if I choose to put in 5 hours. See, I have had success with the burn bridges, go nonstop every day of the week, have little gaps, get up. Well, I used to when I started my company. I go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning and get up at 10 o'clock in the morning and just go nonstop. So I have a lot of proof that works for me to build and do something. But I also have proof in my mind that doing that, now, not that you can't put in those kind of hours. I think two people, I just sent this to somebody the other day who said something about working hard. And look, I can put in 12 hours doing something and it'd be easy and fun and effortless. Somebody else could put in 3 hours doing something and it could be the hardest thing they've ever done in their life, whilst it could be that same exact thing, right? So a thing for me that I put in 12 hours and I'm having a blast, that same activity for somebody else could put in 3 hours and it's hell on earth for them. And here's what I find. The stories that I keep seeing as of recent are when and some of you are going to hear this over and over again, because I think that some things I can say it different ways. I can say it again, and something's going to happen in your life. It's going to hit in a different way. But the truth of the matter is that you got to take a really, really hard look at the current skills that you possess, the current talents that you have. Now, look at what you're trying to obtain. What are your beliefs? That do you have the skills today to get to what you want, to obtain what you want? Or do you feel you still lack information, lack skills, lack talent? Because what I find is that usually we're going out of sequence. Now, what is the sequence? Well, it really depends, unique to each individual. But I have found that out of sequence and the concept of who, not how. This is Dan Sullivan, Benjamin Hardy. I used to listen to it through a guy named Dean Jackson and Dan Sullivan on a podcast before it became a book and a big concept today. This who, not how. School teaches us how to do things. Most courses and programs are teaching people how to do things. Most things in university are teaching people how to do things. And you've got to learn how to do everything. Now, what I find is that if you truly, genuinely, if you never needed money again in your life and you want to genuinely learn something, then 2 thumbs up, right? 2 thumbs up, fantastic. If you genuinely want to learn something, that's great. Even if it is something that could be delegated, that you quote unquote, based on what others tell you, that you shouldn't do. Here's what I find. If we can go and stay in fun and play versus forcing and having and I shoulding, like I have to, I should do, you will accelerate far faster than doing things because you believe you have to, than you believe you should do. Because if you ask yourself the question, if you didn't need money, would you do this thing? Would you learn this thing? I believe that there are things that, when it comes to creating content, it's something I'm obsessed. There's a lot I know. And I know when people tell me things, I go, could I do it? Do I have the skills, the competency to do it? Yes. What I've been obsessed with looking at my own life is where are the areas that I've overcome something? It has improved my life for the better, for the long haul. And it was 100% worth doing the quote unquote difficult or hard thing. Where are other areas where over a decade, no matter what, I continue to have the same patterns pop up? Now, could I overcome it? Should I overcome it? Are there ways to overcome it? Absolutely. Do I have to? No. So one thing I found for me is there are certain activities that I will do for short bursts of time, and then I just don't do it anymore. I get bored. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it, right? But if I've made myself believe through typically others influencing me, especially very convicted people, that I should do something. I really don't do this much anymore, but there's still some untangling of my own mind from a decade of being involved with people who shove down your throat ways to do things, regardless of who you are, how you're wired, and what your desires are. Because I find that when you align, imagine, I brought this up before, but I talk about tune-up, jumpstart, alignment, acceleration, fuel, these different concepts, and looking at this from a car to the human perspective. And if you think that you were driving down a smooth road, no bumps, sunny, there's nothing for hundreds of miles, no cars, nothing. And literally your car is perfectly aligned. And you're driving 90 miles an hour down this road and you're just, windows are down, you're having a blast. And you take your, now, the legal department says, make sure, don't do this, but this is a metaphor for everybody. But you take your hands off the wheel. You don't need an autonomous car. You don't need a Tesla. You don't need some fancy, $150,000 vehicle for you to take your hands off the wheel, assuming that there's all air in the tires are in good shape, that your car is aligned, that you could do that and it will go straight, effortlessly. Everything being equal and your car being massively out of alignment, try that, see what happens. It won't be good. It won't be good. You're likely going to crash. So the same thing is the more I believe that, I've had difficult conversations with people, my mom, different friends, and, I put them off, and having them made my life incredibly better. It was amazing. I mean, with my relationship with my mom got 100x better after not this past year, but the year before on Mother's Day, 3 or 4 hour conversation I just put off for years. That was something that I didn't need to keep doing something I quote unquote didn't like or didn't want to do, or that was difficult over and over and over and over and over and over again every day with her. And it just never got better. Right. Whereas for me, something when it comes to, let's say, content creation, there's lots of ways that people talk about me. I mean, just first and foremost, platforms, right? Podcasts. I mean, it doesn't matter really what you do. If you are self-employed, entrepreneur, freelancer, whatever, there's a lot being thrown at you as to how you should run your business, what you should do, how you should show up online. Should you show up online? What platform should you show up online? What frequency should you show up online? You know, should you do podcasts? Should you do video? Should you do TikTok, Instagram, stories, right? Short form, long form, fancy, unfancy, right? How raw, you know, how should you do it? Anybody relate? Who's self-employed on here right now? I got about 11 of you, right? Like the only time this may not be something that you don't think about at all is if you're an employee, right? Maybe you do. You're likely still on social media, right? You're likely still utilizing social media, but as an employed person, the likelihood of the way you view social media and the way you're utilizing it is very different than a person who is doing activities to attempt to get in front of people so that people know what they do so that they can get business. And so what I find is there's a lot of people throwing a lot of things out there, what you should do and how you should do it and the ways you should do it. And one of the things I've said in the last few weeks is the reason that I'm so adamant about putting this content out and then continuing to have people that I get around me to support me to helping get the message out is because I'm a very content person and know what I love, have built the life now, created, you know, create your life your way, concept I talk about, create your life your way. Exactly. Like use your imagination. What would you like your days, your weeks, your months, your years, your relationships, your business to look like? How much time would you like? Overall, my default for quote unquote work is confined between 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Does that mean things related to quote unquote work, you know, my professional, how I make money that I don't think about out of those times or I don't do anything? No, I do. But like I can find myself that overall, I don't take calls. I don't take meetings. I don't do coaching calls. I don't send Voxers back to people typically before 9, after 5 or on the weekends. And typically every evening between 5 and 6, I stop. Now I still see my wife during the day and different things, but like I've made these constraints because that's how I want my life to look. And I didn't have that for a long time. But so I've gotten that. But so now I also look and go, Michael Gebbin is great at relationship building. I'm great at opening doors. That is a skill set that I have developed through the years that when I look at my entire career and all the money that I've earned, the vast majority, upwards of 90+% of the income I have made, and I have been self-employed since I was 18, 19 years old. 2006 is when I started my video production company back in the day, like officially out of high school. I didn't go to college. And so I've been self-employed that entire time. I have not been an employee since I was worked at a beer distributor. So, you know, when I look at that and I look at all the money that I've made, really in the big picture, first of all, I started when there wasn't a lot of social media, what it is today, for number one, but probably around 2010, 2011, it just kept increasing substantially and I utilized it more. But when I really look at it, I made the majority of money I made in video production after like 2012 to 2020. And if you would to go back and scroll through mainly my Facebook, that would be the main channel I ever really did much with my video production outside of my Vimeo account. You probably wouldn't even know what I do. You wouldn't necessarily know I went and ran a video production company because by that time I wasn't as passionate about doing it, but I still made my primary income from that for a long time. But I look and it was all relationships, connecting people. I love people. It's why I do this live, right? Because there are multiple threads in my life that I have created content, what I would call in isolation. And I got success. Made YouTube videos for almost 2 straight years. You know, sometimes it got to a point at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I was committed. I was disciplined. The video would be uploaded by 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Rockin' Wednesday. Hey, everybody, Michael Gebbin here. Super excited to bring you another Rockin' Wednesday. And I had this blue background and it was very consistent look and feel and music. I wore a different motivational shirt in almost every single video, every single week for almost 2 years. And I got to almost 10,000 subscribers. And I stopped midsummer 2015. And I had a podcast called Gebbs Juice. I think I said this last week. But I was obsessed recently with why? Why did I keep stopping? Because when I ask myself that question, if I was given millions of dollars today, What would I do if I had endless money? Would I put content out? Would I do anything on social media at all? How many of you, just out of curiosity before I get my answer to this, how many of you on live here, all the money in the world comes in. You never need to do one thing to earn a dime ever again in your life. You can give as much money away to charity, to friends, family. You can do all the things you could ever imagine. You will never, ever run out of money ever again. Are you creating content and doing things on social media, creating daily, weekly, multiple times a day, making memes, making videos, recording podcasts? Are you doing those things? Are you creating stuff? Or are you mainly just, utilizing it, using some things here and there, maybe to learn something new, but as a collective, you wouldn't be doing anything on social media in any way, shape, or form. You might be on there just to catch up with a friend or whatnot, but you wouldn't be creating content. You wouldn't be creating podcasts. You wouldn't be creating things that you'd be putting on the internet, growing a YouTube channel, growing a Facebook following, Instagram following. Would you be doing any of that? Fascinating. I gotta know. Creating, but not on social media. But then I'm not sure. I really like being around people physically too. Right? So here's what I found when I answered that question. So I would assert that likely anybody who's on here live and anybody listening, if I went and looked all you up on social media, you probably don't do much to begin with right now. Right? Like you probably don't got 10 or 20 or 50,000 subscribers on YouTube or 30,000 followers on Instagram. I know my Tashina on here has about 8,000, but what's interesting is how she's now utilized it, right? She's a very social, extroverted person, but she is building her coaching business because she's flipped the script from just being, doing this stuff on social and technically not really actually connecting with the people to having conversations, to getting on the phone with people, right? And then doing the stuff she's doing in person and utilizing the internet to share that, right? But here's the thing. If your belief is to have success in your business or your self-employment is to do something you wouldn't do right now, any of you who, if part of your path to achieve what you think you want to achieve involves the thing you say you wouldn't do if you didn't need to, that in and of itself, I hope, gives you an aha as to why you may not actually have what it is that you want. Because what I find is where I procrastinate. Let me ratchet back for a second. I've said this a lot lately, but I'm going to say it again in the context of all this. Don't allow anyone to make you believe that the thing that you really want to do doesn't have the potential. If it is in your heart, and if it is calling you, if it lights your soul on fire, if you don't procrastinate to do it, if you find it effortless and fun and easy, and you just dream that, God, I wish I could just do this more. I wish I could be paid to do this. I wish I could make my living doing this. I wish I could spend a lot more time than I currently get to spend doing this. But then there's the but after it. And the but's either, I don't know how I can make money doing it, or now there's all this other stuff I hate to do and I don't really want to do, and Or people say, well, you don't really want to do that. Here's how you got to set it up. And you're going to need this person and that person. You're going to need to scale this and do that. And there's all these pieces and components you're going to have to put in place. And all of a sudden your brain goes from, this is really fun, I really enjoy this, this is just something that's like, tickles my soul, to, oh my gosh, that sounds dreadful. How much action do you think you can probably look at your life currently, are you actually taking, or will you actually take? Because just because something has quote unquote, I've been bringing this up, something that has $1 million of potential and something else, this, let's say the thing you really, really want to do in your heart, and people are like, well, you'll never make more than 100 grand doing that. You need to do this business model, this way to do it, this way to structure it, this way, their way. That's the way you should do it. I'm telling you, it'd be so much easier. It'd be so much better, so much more potential. Here's what I find. The people who allow themselves, I've been one of them, that allow themselves to be influenced by people who have no stake in your life and who you are and how you're wired and what lights you up and what you are or are not willing to do, what you will or will not take action on. Because it's not a matter of lack of knowledge and understanding, all these different things. It's literally a lack of willingness typically to do it. Because some people are willing to do things they just really don't like. I've done those things in my life, and now I've gotten a taste of, there's things that I might not really want to do. I wish I didn't have to do, but that my life gets a lot better, but I don't have to keep doing it. If you become a content creation person and you don't want to do it, but you're doing it because you have to do it, the likelihood is you won't consistently do it to get the result out of it that's being promised by other people. You'll never get the potential out of it. So what happens is you spend very little time doing what you really love. So you earn no money with that or very little money, whilst the thing that supposedly has unlimited potential, you earn very little money with as well. When in fact, if you eliminated the thing that you don't want to do, that you don't like to do, that you don't enjoy doing, and you focused or had clarity that I could do this thing, you'll start finding ways to get the thing to work without the ways that you don't like to do. Because unless you genuinely, again, are there things you're not going to want to do? Sure. But if it takes up the majority of your mental energy every single day, and it's something you never get really excited. Like I have gotten less and less excited about, isolation content creation the older I get. If I'm not literally alone by myself where I don't want to interact with anybody, I just want to think to myself or go on a bike ride or go on a walk, or I'm with my wife and my puppies, or I'm with my parents or my closest friends. If I'm doing this is in the time that I've allotted every week to do some kind of activity like this, coaching somebody, be on the phone, in person, whatever, where I am coaching, where I am preaching and teaching, right? This is all I really want to do by default, and I want to do it in connection with people. I don't want to spend hours on end preparing content and like scripting something out, but some people listen to me. If that resonates with you, i.e. the opposite of what I am saying, i.e. being more alone, structuring something, planning something, preparing something, scripting something, creating an isolation, then you must recognize that is what you should do. So don't talk to a Michael Gebben who has zero self-awareness and have him say, well, I don't know that you really want to do that. Like, you're going to probably not end up liking that. Da, 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 da. Like, who are they to tell you what you will and will not like? This is what I found that I guess I have, why I continue to obsess about, yes, I do this every Tuesday, but I know that I see people who create live content like me, and they do get their message out. Some of the people I consume the most, they have snippets that are created. I listen to their little 5 minutes, 8 minutes. Like, there's something powerful to being on live. And some of you are going to listen to recordings and whatnot, but a lot of people who can't show up live might like to consume little nuggets. Sometimes the magic happens 45 minutes in, and there's a little flow state that I go into for 8 minutes, and that would be a powerful thing to listen to in isolation. But I get to those moments through doing what I do on here, not by sitting and meditating on it and then just coming out of the gates by myself with my camera. And then got to do all the things you got to do to make sure that the thing then gets seen by human beings. There's nothing wrong with that. But my energy, my desire, my motivation is not there to do that. But if yours is, then you will win doing that or helping a person like me, not by trying to be like me. And there's so many people who have no awareness whatsoever about the emotions and feelings and drive and desires of others, that when you ask their opinion or you ask their support, They only know how to give advice based on themselves and themselves alone. And if they hear you wanting to do something that they either don't resonate with themselves, they don't like, they're not interested in, they don't think will work because their limited beliefs have it go, I never saw how it could work for me, so I don't know how the heck it could work for you. But here's what I find is that what will work for a person is a thing they're willing to work, a thing they're willing to do. And they will always get more potential from that than they will ever get from somebody else who gives them their advice that they're not willing to do. I've had, how many of you, I know I'll give my answer, but how many of you have had a friend, have had a peer, have had somebody in a forum where you asked a question and nobody knows anything about you or your background or your story or anything. And then there's like 37 opinions about what you should do with your life and how you should do it. And they're all different, right? It's why when I'm on here, I'm going to pull Michelle on here shortly. It's fine and dandy for people to throw out their things in the chat, but by proxy, like I have a very particular process about how I like to ask questions, and knowing that I'm looking for kind of a core thing when I'm asking and kind of probing and pulling things out. And that's the body language of the face and a feeling that I can't really explain of an alignment, of an energy that's transmitted, that things come through me that, it is what it is. But that I know that the people who end up working with me, coaching with me, having me interact with them, that they end up doing things that I didn't tell them what to do. Tashina's in there in the chat. Like once we had our little interaction, she went off and did a bunch of things, and she did things that I didn't specifically tell her to do. That's a trend with Michael Gebben. That's not what Tashina brings with her coaching and her clients. She brings a whole different skill set than I bring. Does she bring a part of maybe what I do? Sure. But her life experiences versus my life experiences versus what I've practiced doing with people versus what she's practiced doing with people and her specialty is very different. So when I'm on here, I find that I'm listening for a very particular set of things to help that person, soul extract out of them what is that inside of them that they really want to do. Because I'm getting more and more bullish every single day about knowing what people will and will not win with. And it's not, I have no ego attached to what you should or shouldn't do. I've said, I don't care what you want to do, but I care what you want to do. A lot of people got a lot of ego attached to, I got my way and you should do it. And it's the right way. And it's the best way. And it's the way. And it's the, if you just did this, I get it. Look, there's a lot of programs. If you followed, I remember filming an event for some Amazon product or whatever. And some of the testimonials we got, I remember one lady, she's like, look, I just did exactly what this thing said. I followed the 45 days to a T every single day. And like, I had a blast and it was so much fun and it just worked. Right now, what we don't know when we hear that, somebody else says, well, I followed it to a T too. It didn't work for me, But I find that if I ask, I always bring up wedding industry. I was in it for a long time, but plug it in the industry. But if I got a person who's been doing weddings for like 4 or 5 years and they've only filmed a few, and then I got somebody else who's filmed a ton in 1 year, and I asked the two people if they really love weddings, like the person who's only filmed a few over the course of a few years, high probability they've either been given really poor advice that they've adhered to, which is why they haven't done many, or they don't want to do it. Because if there is will, there is a way. And I find for any of you, to the degree that you can find a way or you do it, the thing you want to do, regardless of business right now, regardless of it making money, I see a trend. That ability for you to not have any neediness in your thing to earn is really powerful. Because the more needy you are, the more you repel people in your work, because you will say and do things that are very unattractive. Where are we at? We got a new name in here today. Serena on here today. New name. Hello. Marty Marshback. I sent you a message, buddy. Where you at, my man? How you doing, buddy? How you doing? Carolyn, Gail. All right. I want to see if there's anything in the chat. How's it resonating here today? If you're on Facebook, it's like, I don't know why it doesn't stay there. There's the chat. How's everybody doing? Appreciate it. I'm going to pull on Michelle here shortly. Any questions in the chat before I pull on Michelle? Resonating questions. This is the opportunity. Again, I love the interaction, but if there's stuff you're ever stuck on, you come here week after week And, you know, some of you have been here every week, and I'm going to throw it in here in the chat too. I greatly appreciate it. Something I've been playing around with as I continue to want to build out helping take content from this. I'm wanting to use the powered by the people, I call it. It's a local radio station. They're fully powered by the people. They take donations. Those of you who get massive value out of this, I'm not going to mention it on the recordings right now, just for the live people, because I haven't gotten a shortcut URL for it yet. It's not on my website either, but there's a link there in the chat I just put up. You can put $1 one-time payment, or you can put $1 monthly payment, and it'll, you know, charge you until you want to cancel it. But what I do too is if you ever want to apply whatever you pay towards coaching with me in the future, whatever you've paid over a period of time, I'll apply that. But yeah, if you get great value out of this week after week, and I appreciate some of my people, Augustina, Norman, Robin, who's on here. Who else has done that? Number of people on here right now that I see. Oh, yeah, little bug there. So anyways, I appreciate that. I put that in there. Michael, I'm doing what I want. No money yet, but I really don't need it. Yeah, and that's another thing too, right? When you don't need the money at all, then we've got to watch that we may never also ask for it. You may have people ask you for it, but I find the more you can increase the speed at which you do it with more people, the more probability that you have of people wanting you to do it with you. But here's the thing I found too. Do you, again, do things in isolation? If I help a person completely and utterly in private, here's the thing. You could help somebody in private right now, 2 people. One's going to blow up your business and one's not. Because sometimes we help people in private and they don't have many people to tell. You may have changed their life in whatever way, but they don't have very many people to tell. Whereas other people, you may do something for somebody in private, but that person has a podcast with 1 million followers, and now all of a sudden they tell 1 million people, and you know what you did in private is known by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, right? Same activity. That's what I found when I was growing my video production company. I didn't do it on purpose in the beginning, but one of the things I did was a thing called a same-day edit. Well, I had videographers who were in the industry for 20 years and had filmed hundreds of weddings, but they didn't do anything with utilizing the internet at all. I utilized the internet, but I also just utilized the audience that was physically present with me in the moment. There was 300, 400, 100, 200 people at a wedding. I didn't do this for marketing in the beginning, but literally people would see my work and go, I'm getting married next weekend. I'm getting married next month, getting married next year, right? But the people who didn't do anything, it didn't go online, they didn't do same-day edits, they would just give one DVD. What happened is rather than for me between online and the same-day edit, having literally thousands of people every week potentially seeing my work, you'd have the couple. So it's harder for word of mouth to spread when less people know about what you do, right? So you got to think about that. Why do you not have what you want? Well, are you trying to utilize skills you don't have, doing things you don't want to do? And then when you do it, how many people even know that you do it? Right? So depending on the business, depending on the business model, depending on the activities you're doing, and that's what I love to jam with people, because I can see different things that other people can't see, because I have tried a lot. I have done podcasts. I have written on Medium. I have had Instagram. I have a TikTok. I have YouTube with 10,000 subscribers, SoundCloud, like I said, podcast, Facebook. I've done 700 lives. I've got, 2,000 videos on my Vimeo account for my video production company. I went to networking meetings. I shot for, Tony Robbins and Tim Ferriss and Lewis Howes and Pat Flynn and Brian Moran and, thing from Marie Forleo and Michael Port and, all these different online marketers and speakers and filming their courses and being at their masterminds and being behind the scenes and being friends with some of them. Like, I have heard and seen a ton, and I have been utmost obsessed with why certain people succeed and certain people do not. And in having coached people, asked questions, and really observed, there's a number of variations as I brought up today and on prior weeks, but like self-awareness is huge, but making sure that you're talking to people who don't pigeonhole or box in based on their own limited beliefs. Any questions before we bring on Michelle? Awesome, Norman. Check out Powered by the People there in the chat. I appreciate if you're getting value from this every week. You know, my ability to bring this out to all of you and, you know, not have it be this particular part of it, you know, not be a $100 or $200 a month or $500 a month thing, but bringing the value every single week to help out, because I believe that this is a message that doesn't need to be hidden and hiding, and, you know, behind some massive paywall. People, you know, need to hear it. It's very important so that they don't keep struggling and going down rabbit holes and paths that just keep causing frustration and irritation. When there's a path for you, it could be more effortless, easy, fun, enjoyable, not without effort, not without time, not without hours, weeks and months and years of putting something in, but something that you can see yourself doing week after week, week after week, week after week, rather than something that you feel like you know, I got to do this. And then you do it for 3 weeks and you stop because you just don't like it. That is not how, at least in self-employment, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, we don't win by stopping and starting every other day we turn around. So, Michelle, you ready to rock? Appreciate and grateful. Happy Thanksgiving for those in America, and thankful for all of you, no matter where you're at. Norman, Robin, Serena, Sonia again, Tashina, Travis. Travis, what's up? Oh, here's a whole bunch of names I didn't even see. Got to scroll up. Deidre, Augustina, Carolyn, Gail, Janice, Lana, Lana, hello, new person. Marty, Michelle, Norman, there's some new names. Hello. Appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for being here. I always read the chat afterwards as well, and sometimes I chime into people. Actually, I got to bring up one person before I do this, a little highlight, the power of language and the power of the aspect of, you know, you send me things, I'm going to point out different little things. I love words. I love language. I love seeing little things you could add. Somebody was on a call here last week. They said, today was awesome. I'm doing what I love, making delicious food for people. It's not generating hundreds of dollars, but it makes my heart sing and my soul fly high. Massive inspired action. Thank you, Gebs. And I said, add one word after not generating hundreds of dollars. What could that one word be? What could be that one word that this person could add? It's not generating hundreds of dollars, but it makes my heart sing and my soul fly high. There we go. Yet. I said, just add that one word, yet. So after that, pretty close after, ... yet. So true. Thank you. That was on Tuesday after the call. Next day, 7 o'clock at night. Good evening, Michael. You know that yet is really powerful. I made treats for the meeting as per usual, and on a whim decided to take something to sell. I made $18 today. Thank you for always speaking life into the community and showing us what we can definitely accomplish anything. You know, thank you for listening and helping me shift from I need to have ABCD in place before I can blank. Now I take inspired action. Keep doing what you're doing, how you're doing it. So powerful. There's things that you're just rolling out of your mouth that you don't say. And when you add in these little nuggets, words like yet, I can, I will, this is possible, right? Got to start to change your story, change your life, change your thinking, change your life, right? But some of you are on default, and that default and autopilot is not empowering. And it's why it keeps you where you are over and over again every single day. And when we can flip the script around and start adding in these keywords, deleting other words, you know, changing our language slightly, things to more empowering versus disempowering, things towards what we want rather than what we do not want. So many people are very crystal clear on what they don't want in their life, what they don't like, what isn't working. But are you crystal clear about what you do want, where you're going, and what is working? That imagination again. What do you want your days, weeks, months, and years to look like? How would you like to spend your time? What activity would you love to do most? That's why I'm so bullish about the fact that no matter what somebody tells me that I should do, I know that I could get a who to do, or I could eliminate it. Because unless I want to do, I do not have to do almost anything. And too many of us are made to believe by people who feel like they have to do everything, or when they had to do it, they believe you should too. Again, unless you want to, the likelihood of you doing it consistently enough to get the potential and get the result out of it is low, because the people who win are the people who show up week after 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 week. And they put in consistent effort, and they pivot and they tweak and they shift and they move and they pivot and they tweak and they shift and they move. And they test and try different things. And through that, there'll be lots of times that things don't work out and you make mistakes and you might upset somebody. But at the end of the day, you learn and you grow and you get better. And through that, you will iterate to find your sweet spot. It's already there. You just potentially haven't uncovered it yet. So rock and roll, my friends. Let's pull on Michelle. Michelle, you ready to rock and roll today? Ready to rock and roll. Ready to rock and roll. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Yes. Yes, let's get on here today. And let's do the mind tune-up. Let's do the mind tune-up with the Z. Mind tunes up. Let me drink water. Let me pull you on. Can you just raise your hand? Where you at? Click the little raise hand thing. There you are.
Can you see me?
Hello.
Hey.
What's up, Rockstar? How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, right.
Looking good. How are you? Whoop.
Well, it ain't a Tuesday unless something falls, right?
That's all right. That's all right.
I know. I'm trying to make this equipment work. Again, as you're talking about all these things, you're telling my story, really, honestly. So
I'm not alone, and neither are you.
telling my story because I mean, I've bought so many programs over the years. I don't know why this isn't working, but let me pop it over here.
Yeah, do whatever you need to do. It's all good.
I wasn't able to, whoa, I don't really like it there, but I wasn't able to, where did you go? Hang
Somewhere. I'm here.
To check on the camera before, because you know how that is.
It's all good. It's all good. I can hear you. That's the most important thing.
All right.
It's all good.
Come on, camera. I had it all ready to go and I use it all the time. And it's just saying, it doesn't want to work over there. Okay, that's cool. So we'll figure it
It's
out.
all right. You just lean back a little bit and I'll be able to see you.
Yeah. All right. Hang on a sec. Sorry. Probably shouldn't be cussing.
There we go. That's perfect. That's
All right.
perfect. That's good.
There we are.
What's up? What's up? Are you an artist?
I am.
Creator?
Yeah.
Like
I am.
what?
I'm a singer-songwriter and a performer and a producer. And
Fantastic.
I created a sister brand called I Am a Wild One. It's over there.
Okay. Cool. I
And
love that
think we
logo.
use, like aura sprays wherever they may be. That's why it was a better angle at that first angle, but I couldn't get it to stay. I need tape.
It's okay.
But anyway, so I created a micro niche within my my music, and I call it mystic pop music, and it's Reiki infused pop music.
Okay, cool. Fantastic.
There's a lot of Reiki music, but it's in the meditation sort of deal, and I wanted to create music that gets people to dance and feel good. And so but as we all know, and it's going well, people really love it, but
Cool.
it's hard to make money in music now, you know, it's all streaming.
Yeah.
And so I started a sister brand so that I could sell product when I
Okay.
was at live shows.
Okay.
And I actually make the bulk of my money through the sister brand.
Okay, cool.
And
The stuff
then,
back there, the wild one.
Yeah, the Wild One stuff. So
Cool.
and then I started a podcast, the I'm a Wild One, so that people could understand, you know, what it's all about, you
Cool.
know, and I started that in 2020.
Okay.
And I was doing really good every week, doing
Yeah.
some stuff. I got up to about 25 episodes.
Okay.
But then I stopped because I felt overwhelmed.
Okay.
Because I really just want to be a musician. I really just want to sit and I want to make music. I'm pretty prolific. I write all the time.
Okay.
And my output isn't where I would like it to be. Like I want to do more output, and the vision that I see for myself is performing at retreats.
Okay. Great.
And I know there's good money in it.
Sure.
And there's a healer that I work with who And she's just who books me. And every time we do one, it's amazing. And I
Okay.
love it. And I love connecting with the people at retreats. I love being present. I love performing live. And they love my products because I'll bring my products and they
Cool.
sell out every time. And I
Great.
have to go home and make more.
Yep.
But I feel like I have to physically be somewhere
Okay.
in order to make a living. And so I bought these programs, various ones.
So real quick before we go into that, you feel like that, do you want to be, or do you not want to be physically
Do I
present?
want to be what?
Like, do you like that? Do you enjoy that? You just said, I love the presence. I love being there. The stuff sells out. But I know, removing COVID for a second, I know what happened there. So that also has shifted some people's minds a little bit, but,
a lot of stuff. Yeah.
but just in general though, like, let's just eliminate it from the mind for a second. Do you want to do that? Would you like that? If there was no issues of things with COVID ever again, and all the events were happening full bore, and you travel to these things and play and perform, would that be awesome? Or do you not want to do that part, but you want to be able to still?
That would be awesome. I think that there's two sides of my personality. There's a side of my personality that really does well with travel and meeting new people and being in new experiences. I actually acclimate very well to like a touring lifestyle.
Cool.
But when it's time for me to hibernate and find my center, I really love being alone.
Sure.
I cherish my alone time.
Yeah.
So I work on both sides of that. But what I'm finding out when I'm trying to build this online business to try to keep the money consistent,
Yeah.
because I can't physically be at a retreat or I can't physically be somewhere, I'm finding that I'm struggling with the consistency of posting every week or doing this every week. Because honestly, truthfully, as an artist, there are some weeks where it's like, I don't feel good.
Yeah, I
like,
get it.
you know, I just don't feel like spreading the love, or I don't feel like I have it in me to like, my cup's empty, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm writing, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
writing, I wrote 20 songs that week, or I
Yeah.
produced with that guy that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't really know. And just for background reference, I've sold music for film and TV. I've sold music to Universal Music for
Awesome.
licensing and sync, which is really awesome. But that's a whole other job in itself. It's separate from building this identity that I'm trying to build online with myself in this micro niche.
Yeah.
And again, I bought some programs over the years, and one was in the music space. And I found that every time I go in and I open it, I'll watch it and I'll be like, well, for one, I'll be like, I already know this stuff. You know, like, what was I thinking, you know? And then two, I'll be like, wow, I just don't know if I have the time to sit around and do this, you know, like to do like the way they're telling me to do it.
And so what's let me time in to see, there's that interesting thing where like we make this was kind of the message a little bit on today's call, like that aspect of like, I don't have the time, but on the week you don't feel like doing anything, you write 20 songs, and I guarantee you spend a bunch of time doing that, right?
Yeah, I spend a bunch of times, I play my guitar, I'm in my little world, I'm in my little space.
It's a matter of priorities, right? Like and so that's not meaning I'm saying you should prioritize that, but that's where when we get more clear all the time about really why, like I know how to do it, and then I don't have the time to do it. Like that's really, you know, you're not likely embodying it, or maybe they do know something you don't know, or they're doing something you don't do. But like we get clear on that, then we can start eliminating these things because we can get clear on really why we're not doing it, and we can shift our focus. Because I feel like the more I've seen this in my own life, the more our mind is occupied with these kind of have tos or should do's, we just end up in this weird, like, you know, holding pattern that like the thing that we really would like to do never quite takes off. The thing we're trying to do so we can do what we really like to do, neither takes off. And you just end up in that loop of like just getting by, barely being able to, you know, you survive, you pay the bills, but like there's no thriving because you're in that weird holding pattern.
Yes.
That resonate?
Yeah, it does. And of course, like a lot of people here, I've bought programs that I thought would help me to build that momentum and that financial stability, but also that I thought would be able to reel me in and focus me.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for focus. I'm looking for And when I buy these programs, of course, like, you know, it's a set it and forget it. Like they spend all the time making it. They're not going to actually tell you when to show up, when to do it. Like you have to get in there and do the work. And I'm finding sometimes I'll watch a bunch and then I get confused. And then I'm literally like, well, I think I just want to. So I do nothing.
I get it.
Like,
there's no shame here because you're not
like,
alone.
I
And
have an email list. I pay for email every month that I don't use. I pay for Canva Pro that I don't use. I pay for I can't tell you, I pay for Spotify Pro that I don't use.
yeah,
I'm paying for all these things every month.
yeah,
It's going out and I don't use it. But when I go somewhere in person, I go live, people see me, they meet me, they hug me, they touch me, they hear me, they do the whole Michelle Vreeland thing and they go nuts and everything sells out. Like everything's gone, you know? But I don't know how to transfer that energy into the online space. And from what you're saying maybe you shouldn't, you know?
it's not
But
about should or shouldn't.
my
It's
industry requires me to do it. They want to see what it
yeah,
is that I'm doing. But when I do something live, it touches people. I can tell because it's, you know.
yeah. So I think that even what I've played around with in the realm of what I'm doing today, relative to always comparing it against the way I grew my video production company. And I think that what's interesting is when it comes to content, there again are people who their creation of content is like them doing that. Like that is the like, how do I explain this? So this right now, content is being created technically. Like we're live, we're interacting, I'm with you. Like there are people out there who have built followings through basically. Now, some are willing to do some of this themselves because of how they are and things get consumed. They might edit some themselves or they get people to support them, whatever. I mean, that's what I'm in the process of doing because I know that when I leave this, I've come to a place that as much as I want the message to get out, I want to help people and everything else, I truly know I do not need it to make my living. So like, yes, like I want to get it out because I feel that too many people like me with this message are so content behind the scenes that too many people like yourself who resonate with someone like me or a ways that not to do it like me, but your way, but in a similar way, in the sense that all the ways that are being taught by all these gurus, well, there's too many of those people. So you don't have examples. It's what I keep hearing from people who are doing coaching with me. Well, I don't have any examples of anybody who does it XYZ way. It's because those people are so content behind the scenes doing their thing. And you've even mentioned things that work, but that's where like, I love Mark Manson's post about like screw finding your passion. He's like, I got the buddy who's like been trying to do an online business for 3 or 4 years, doesn't make any money, you know, and then gets a friend to ask him about doing a design job. And he stays up for 8 hours overnight and is so thrilled to do it. The next day he'll go, dude, I just can't figure out what I should do with my life. And it's like, when you look at it, sometimes the answers are there. Like, you're talented. You have made money. When I'm doing this sells out. And I've done things for Universal and music. So there's a talent there, but there's a belief pattern that says, I have to do this other thing. My industry says this is how it should be done. Right. But now granted, this isn't about comparison. And I know there's a lot of nuance to this, but we think about, take the Adele's of Earth. Is she busting out content 7 days a week, 365, or is she just a badass mother, you know what, her with her music and freaking by proxy of being put in front of the right people in the right places? Like, I'm obsessed. I told people, this guy yesterday, I had 3 people that I sent that are pseudo in the space that I do. I'm just going to show you or tell you and everybody here listening what I told him. And this is what I'm obsessed with. We got Peter Crone, who's somebody I really, really enjoy his content. Instagram. This is all Instagram.
All right.
He's got 194 posts. He's got 130,000 followers. We got Michael Janda, who's a good friend of mine. 807 posts, 158,000 followers. Then we've got Rob Dial, which I don't consume a lot, but I know he's in the motivational space, kind of doing, he calls himself the mindset mentor. 6,385 posts, 349,000 followers. Now, if Mr. Old Peter Crone could double and maybe not quite triple and have 300,000 followers as well, but just did it through tripling his posts, he'd only have 600 posts. 600 posts, yet he'd have the same amount of followers as a guy who has 100x as many posts, 6,000 posts. But see, when Peter Crone goes live, he's live on Instagram with somebody with 4 million followers, and there's 1,200 people on live while he's on live, versus him going live with somebody with 400 or 4,000 followers and 3 people are listening to him. Right? So if you are talented enough, if you have the skills, if people freaking love what you do, and you have the cojones and belief in yourself to start networking and connecting with people who have much larger, like, I mean, I filmed in that retreat space and things like that. And people like yourself would come in and they did get paid well. And now there's stuff going virtual and some of these sets that are being built by some of these people where you're still potentially, you're going in to a physical thing with this 360 Zoom rooms. I mean, those things are happening where they're still having people show up, but they're all still on Zoom.
The Wisdom Dome or something like that.
Yeah,
like
there's different things, but like
domes.
the more you see the value in yourself and you start to connect the talent of what you're doing in person and connect with people who will match that in the online space. So rather than, if you don't think you're worth much, you won't reach out to people, but people who are like really small or have small audiences, and you can do the same activity. It's what as I'm going about myself, like I'm more obsessed with how do I do what Peter Crone's doing, not how do I do what Rob Dial's doing, not how do I make 6,000 posts and use the right titles, tags, hashtag, content creation, army of a team, and just be pumping out content 7 days a week, because I know I'll likely never get there because I don't want to do it. I don't have excited about messing with the team. Like I could just see his podcast is created alone. He's not doing it live. There's a photo here. You can kind of see of him a little bit that he's like holding up a postcard and there's writing on it. Like, so he's doing a lot of things likely with a team that's just him and his team kind of doing things to create content. I don't like doing any of that kind of stuff. I want to be in conversation, in connection, coaching, doing that. So knowing that, it eliminates a lot of paths that I know I won't do. So they don't have to take up mental bandwidth thinking, well, that's what you got to do it. So there's a lot of examples I think you could find that, creating courses, creating programs, a lot of this online stuff, the way you're being sold through. You came from Samcart, I'm assuming that's where you found me, or no?
I did. I came through Samcart about December of last year, or this year, December. I don't even know. December. Almost a year. It'll be December 11th. I thought I would have this idea that I would market my Mystic Pop music on Samcart, and then I would watch all their videos because, it included the library thing.
Yeah.
I bought into the thing and I didn't use it. I mean, I built my thing. I have my landing page. I think it looks pretty good. I got some advice on Samcart, and but I haven't launched it, and I don't know why.
Well,
and the people that see it love. I spent so many hours on it, and it's expensive, that, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not, but it's different. Like for a musician to sell themselves in that way, it's very different. I've never seen anyone do that, but I think I did a pretty good job. But I just find that when it gets to like when I get, like, for instance, on the Samcart, they're like, oh, well, you should use a different landing. And I was like, well, I spent hours on this. I mean, a lot of hours, not just like 2 or 3. I'm talking like hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
And then to me to switch the template, I'm like, I don't have, like, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then see, that's what I'm saying, that if you not trust me on exactly what to do, but the fact that simply that attitude around it is what will prevent, because what is sold by all these people that are out there is there is a set it, like, put in those hours, put in that time, and then it's going to be able to sell, and then it's going to do this. And like, none of these people who have those businesses, like, unless they're massively like massive delegators, they're all working in their businesses all the time because they like it. They like creating the content. They love constantly updating their ads. They love creating stuff for YouTube and scripting out the videos. And they love doing that. That's why they win, because they show up and they love to do it, not so that. And this is where a lot of them are, I hate the way they sell it, because what they're selling is do all this so that you can get what you really want. And I have seen very few personality types who will do something that they absolutely don't want to do so that they can end up doing what they want. Like
Yeah.
there's out of studying human behavior for 7 years under a behavioral profiler, there's a high dominant type of personality, high D in the disc profile. Like the higher that number, which most people I attract, like 95% of them, it's below 50. So it ain't even in play. It's like you're on the NASCAR track and you got a little car that goes 75 miles an hour and feels like it'll explode, and the car is going around your NASCAR. They're all high Ds while you're a low D. It doesn't mean you can't succeed. You're just on the wrong track. And so the problem is people who don't really want to play the game of business through creating ads or hiring people to create ads, do the ads and do all that and update it, they won't win with that. It's very difficult to win. I have a buddy who's about to break $600,000 in his production company. And one of the reasons, somebody asked me the other day, well, how did he do that? Because he didn't break 180,000 for like 10 years. Well, he was a do it all yourself. You want it done right, you do it yourself. Then he started to get people in place. But the other thing is, I had done a course with him. We spent probably over the course of the whole thing, $150,000 to $200,000 in ads, and ended up making like a few $100,000. In the first 5 months, we ran 100,000 in ads, and it brought in 200 grand. And it doesn't go today because, one, I love helping people, but it was not my course. None of it was my stuff. I even ran the ads. I hated running the ads. We hired an ad person. It went downhill after that. I pulled out because I wasn't doing really what I loved within the business, and he was doing it for all the wrong reasons. He thought, so even though we made the money, he was great at teaching. He was great at creating the course. We had the course. I helped promote it. I helped run ads. It was making money, but like, he, I think, brought in 90,000 in January. And I said, was it easier to bring in that versus what everybody said is the better thing to do, which would be to create a course, have an online business, passive income, all these things that are being thrown at us every day. He's like, absolutely not. The course was like, it was an endless work for him, especially because he really didn't love it. What he wanted to do was put a lot of effort in, create the structure, create the course, create the program, create the website, do all that, and then be able to just sell it. But it took effort week after week to sell. You either have to build an audience organically to sell, or you have to run ads, or you have to build relationships with affiliates. But no matter what, it is an active business. It is not a passive business for it to work consistently and for it to continually make money. And that's what people don't get, because they're not going to tell you any of that. They want you to spend the $350, the $2,000, the $1,000, the $5,000 selling you the fact that you can have this lifestyle business, work from wherever. They're not wrong and they're not lying, but they leave out the process and what it will take to really do that. And the people who really love doing it, or have fun doing it, or enjoy doing it, or like building a team, or like creating ads, or like doing all that, they win. And the people who are on this chat, the people like yourself who go, oh, freaking done with this. Like, but man, if I be with people and they laugh and hug and cry and get so excited, my stuff sells out. I've worked with Universal, but you know what? I'll just kind of jump that in the trash can and try to build this thing that I really don't want to do, but I have to do so that I can do what I want to do. And it's like, I'm real quick. So I'm saying, you've got the in-person, that works. You've got a Universal thing, that's its own business. And you obviously can connect with people. I'm assuming, like you just said, I like people, I can go into different things. So to the degree that you've got like these skills, these are powerful skills like me. So like with that clarity, you could have in-person ones. If you started to reach out to more people, those doors would start opening. If you just gave yourself permission to want what you want, the magic will start to happen. It's when we continue to not just give ourselves permission to go, it could work online or offline. There could be an ability. I'll take a breath with you. I see it. You're like, I know I get going, right? I got to make sure everybody breathes sometimes, because I get fired up and it's like pouring into you. Cause I can't shake out the demons from the like programming from the online, because it's me and I've been untangling my mind. It's a decade, Michelle and everybody listening, of me not buying the courses always, but literally being friends or filming or going to these events, and then seeing women, men, whomever, who are at multiple events spending $5,000, $10,000 at these freaking workshops and things. And I'm like, they've been at the last 4 things I filmed over the last year and a half. And like, they've still never gone anywhere. Why? Why have they not? Why do they keep burning through money and make no progress. I'm so obsessed with that. And it's not because the thing or the model doesn't work. It's they're not willing to work it because they don't want to work it. But you have skills and talents from what you're telling me that you can work. And if you obsess over that, then you'll do far more. And then maybe online stuff, it doesn't mean don't do anything. See, I did my same day edit, but I didn't have to create new content for the internet. I did my same day edit while I was there at the wedding, and I just uploaded it to the internet. So to the degree some of your content for you to be present online can come when you're at the physical thing, somehow having some way to get it filmed or somebody to film it, having those things to create, like, do your thing you love to do, have it be filmed somehow or photograph filmed and use that as content online. But and then you have the online things you can do where people are having the virtual summits or things, like I said, too, where you could be the intermission, right? You could be the break, you could be the whatever. And then you can use, potentially, depending on how you set it up, you can then through those relationships allow these people to be affiliates for that product. So the Sam Cart's not all for nothing, but I think the way you're going to grow it could be different than likely the way you're thinking about growing it. It can be grown through you using the internet to connect and have conversations over the phone or Zoom or whatever, and then letting them know, hey, when I play to your people, I've got this product and I sell $1,000 worth of product. Whatever you could, do efficiently or affordably, you could set that up. If you set it up through Samcart, have an affiliate thing potentially set up and like, hey, I'm gonna sell 1,000 of these, give you $300, right? Or whatever. And those are just ways to creatively think. That kind of stuff is where there's ways to break the paradigm of likely the way most of these people are teaching you how you need to do things.
So you're on the path that I was thinking.
Good,
so I
good.
invested in, I got some ideas after the last retreat that I performed at in July.
Cool.
And I bought like something like this, right? Like a little iPad.
Okay,
thingy.
cool. Yep. Great.
So it would sit like on my table that I sell. Right?
Yep.
And then the Sam Cart page would be here.
Yep.
And I would sell the Ultimate Mystic Pop Music Bundle there live.
Cool.
Because people don't buy CDs. They don't buy any of that stuff. But if they can get a bundle that has a ton of stuff in it, they'll buy it.
Sure.
And and I find that when I'm live, like I said, people buy whatever I'm selling.
That's great.
And everything sells out. Like they'll buy the teas, they'll buy all the sprays, will sell.
Perfect.
Everything on the table will sell. And which is great, but I haven't been able to do the live.
All you have to do is focus on building relationships with people who have audiences that your ideal audience, and then getting in front of their people. But then all you have to do, this is the Peter Crone one then. So you don't need that much content. You can just have some random things there because you're basically leveraging the audience of other people who've worked really hard to gather up all the people, and you come in and do your thing for those people, rather than what a lot of people and a lot of these models is you've got to build from ground zero, which means
that's what I'm struggling with, is the building from ground zero. And I learned Facebook ads. I learned all that stuff.
Sure. But to the degree that you show up and consistently do it is the degree you get the results. It doesn't matter, you know how to do it, right? The things you know how to do when you watch a course, a lot of stuff I know how to do too. I won't do it. I'm not willing to do it. And therefore, guess what? But I'm not naive to think why I'm not getting certain results, because I know when I'm not willing to do certain things over and over and over again, then I won't get the result out. It doesn't matter how intellectual I am about it. It's no different than this mindset work or work that you would do with people. Like a lot of people understand things. It's not, again, the lack of understanding or information. It's the lack of willingness to do or execute or take the action. So all I ever want to do on these calls is, where do you have the willingness? Where do you have the talent and the skills? And focus there, and you'll get the result far faster than continuing to try to develop or do the things you just don't want to do and you don't like to do, because we're not all super women and super men where we're going to have all the time and energy. I mean, there's so much happening in all of our lives. I mean, it's not, I have stuff going on, you have stuff going on, we all have stuff going on. And so to the degree that you either, like, I watch this one guy right now named Alex Hormozy, and I like a lot of stuff he says, but then there's still aspects that go, yeah, I'm never going to be like, I watched him have this guy, Charisma on Command, as a YouTube channel. And they have a lot of these.
That one. I know that one.
Okay. So they did an interview with this guy, and, you could tell that the one guy's like, how do you keep finding your drive? Like, it's Alex Hormozy's built like an $85 million company. And the other guy never really said his numbers, but you could tell there's business partners doing the interview with this Alex. And the one guy's, I guess, still motivated to work harder. And the other guy's like, man, like, I have no more drive to do anything because I have all the money I need. I just want to play video games with my buddies. He's like, how, Alex, do you keep having it? But like, you can tell, like, Alex is he's obsessed with the ads and the business. And there's obsession with things that if some of us just aren't or can't find a way to be, then yeah, our results will have to come differently. We can't it's the fish climbing a tree. So you have the skills, you have the talent, you have desires in certain areas, and you just got to flip that script and lean into your strengths. See, I'm much more likely to be like Peter Crone than I am to be like Rob Dial. I'm much more likely to reach the unreachable, be in front of people's audiences and grow the way Peter grew than to be this content machine, you know, and have 6,000 posts and growth just by brute force, right? I'd rather take my talent and skills and open up doors to people who they like to be. Let me get featured on Rob Dial's thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I think. He's done that. And so that's something that you're likely to have a lot more. And the reason I'm so bullish is because I've been seeing a lot with people when they finally let go, like a story I've given recently, if you didn't hear, a guy who wanted to be an editor when he was 22, 2012. But then was convinced by peers in the industry that why would you want to just be an editor? There's a lot more potential in running a full production company. And then they can give very valid reasons. They're not wrong. They're not lying. They're not being deceptive. They're not even not trying to help him. In fact, they're going, dude, why limit? Like, it's the whole big picture, big dream, right? I got a book right here, The Magic of Thinking Big, right? Yeah. But this idea that here's the thing, they're convincing him, why be limited? Why think small? Why just be an editor? There's more potential if you run a whole production company. So in the interim, while he's super passionate about editing and Premiere Pro and all this stuff, he starts to try to run a production company and he gets a job. He's making a couple $1,000s a month. It's a job that has nothing to do with video. But then over the years, he makes 10 or 15,000 bucks a year trying to run the whole production company because that's what he thinks he should do. That's the way to do it. Like you're saying, this is the way I'm being told. These are the industry leaders are telling me this is what I should do. In the summer of 2019, he finally sent me an audio. We started coaching again in 2019. And he goes, I'm going to believe in me. You believe in me. I am an editor. I'm going to focus on getting editing jobs. Within 2 months, 2 random friends, been friends for years, referred him to 2 different editing positions. He quit his job within 2 months of that declaration and got an editing position on a Netflix series as assistant editor, then an HBO series. And now he's working on another Netflix series, literally making 4 times as much money in a month than he was making before. And it's just being a single thing, whereas the potential thing never got the potential because all that it took to get the full potential out of that, he didn't like, he didn't enjoy, he didn't really want to do. And it kept coming back. What would you do if you didn't need money? Dude, I just want to have that home suite where I got my big monitors and I get to edit from home. And that'd be a dream come true. But most people don't give themselves permission to go for what really their dream is. They build other people's ideals of what business should look like and how they should do it and the ways it should be done. And they just flounder around for years. And so if you can accept the things you want and the things you have talent in and let go of the way other people have made you believe it should, because look, you know, the reason this Alex Hormozi did so well, he was in the micro niche within small gyms, and that's the only people he helped. And the reason I believe he got worse so much is because he actually not only had his own gyms to begin with, then he flew to gyms for 2 years and was there for 30 days getting the results himself. And then he brought out a course. Most of these people, all they're doing is they make 10 grand one time in 1 month. And then they're teaching you how to make 10,000 bucks a month. And the reason their business never makes 100 grand and his makes 100 million, or not 100 million, $1 million a month is because he can get the people the results because he knows the results work for the gyms, not for everybody. And Samcart's going, hey, here's Samcart. It works for everybody with a pulse and an internet connection. And all you can do is plug our little system into everybody. And it's like, it works better for some things than others. And for someone like you, your relationship skills and your ability to take the talent you already possess and put it in front of people with audiences, I believe it'll be a game changer for you. because you're already like that. You know it works, and you can do it online and you can do it offline. Like this may be something I might have to learn a little bit. You may want to invest in what could you do if you could deliver that virtually in a powerful way, where like if I had a virtual summit, you could show up and rock the vibe there.
Yeah.
Similar in person, but that's another
about that too. There is a girl who does like sound healing, but it's more like meditative.
Mhm.
And she has millions of followers on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about what I could do, not copying her per se, but like trying to figure out how I could create that environment space. Cause I mean, she does everything looks beautiful and
It's great.
it sounds
So see,
great.
there's even examples of people doing it. So it's just a matter of plugging that in. But
yeah. So just figuring out how it's all gonna work, and all of that. And I guess what got me into the Samcart thing is I thought, well, because I really like to focus on multiple streams of income, because while you're waiting for your ASCAP checks or a sync license to go through, it would be nice to have something that you can kind of control and bring money in,
Sure.
or if you're waiting on the next gig or this and that. So I thought, well, if I did the Samcart landing page, then I'd have the ability to kind of really, maybe monitor like the income a little bit, to see if I can pull new people in.
And where were you going to get those people? That's my question.
Well, I was going to do Facebook ads. I have about 20,000 followers, almost 20,000 on Facebook. Right. And then I was thinking that I would do ads on the people that are already there for one.
Right. Have you done that?
No, I have not done that. And that's what I mean, like where I get distracted with the stuff I prefer to do, which is the writing of the music. And even like, you can't see it, but this is like my studio is this way. And I did try an experiment on Instagram where I did something called studio sessions on IGTV, where I brought people into the making of a track. Okay. And I did about 7 videos of that on one particular track. But then Instagram recently got rid of IGTV. Okay. So that kind of stopped that series. So I don't even really know what to do now. So, and I guess this is it. Let me tell you something, Mike, about social media that really burns my hide. Is I spend a lot of hours learning Instagram, learning Facebook, learning all this stuff, and then they change something on you. Yeah. Or I'll build momentum in a certain area and then it's gone. And then and then I feel defeated. Yep. Like, well, I spent all these out. And then so now I have to move the series to YouTube or move it to Facebook. And then I just feel frustrated. And then I just go, forget it. I'm just going to play a guitar. I'm going to do something else. Yeah. And maybe again, that's a personal issue. I need to just get over it and just pivot.
It's twofold. I mean, I could say all sorts of things in relationship to that. I could be, blunt like some might and go, well, that ain't going away, which is probably true. But number two,
it's going to change all the time. And I know Facebook and Instagram does, and they change and they do their thing, and that's fine. But that's what I was thinking, is that with Samcart, I'd be able to do the Ultimate Mystic Pop Music Bundle. I'd be able to, get people in. And then I realized that there are times, like I said, I don't really always like to be online. Like there are weeks where I'm like, I don't know if I really want to show up. And that's what happened with the podcast, where I started it off, I was doing great momentum. And for someone who just barely have promoted it and did some postings on it, I mean, it's gotten over about 2,000 listens, which is a lot for someone who's just whatever,
for sure. Congrats.
And, but I find that it's just hard. Like sometimes I'll record a podcast and then I won't launch it because it'll take about 8 hours of work, like between what I have to do behind the scenes, all the little things I got to make to promote it, all the little 1-minute clips that you talked about. And I'm just like, oh my Lord. And then I get frustrated and then I think, oh, forget it. And then I don't even know if people care, you know what I'm saying? So I don't even know why I'm doing it, other than for myself, so.
That's why you have to me, it's all a game, and it's why I'm hacking, making sure. It's why I utilized Samcart there, and I'm going to get the other ones. I was doing that exact thing. I mean, the big picture things, that's what that was doing for me, right? I was being put in front of 100 to 200 brand new people every week. And so when that went away, I had to go back to, well, now what do if I don't get in front of other people's audiences, then I can maintain the people who came in, but then there's that aspect of getting in front of new people. So the thing for me is like, I got to still know where am I likely to financially succeed, because if I'm not willing to do those things, if I don't really enjoy it, but it might be necessary on some level, I'm more likely to make money in the areas that are my strengths, and I can help finance putting some people in place. I've started to use Fiverr recently, and getting really affordable things to start putting some people in place to do the things that I know that I don't have to, but I really want more people like yourself to be able to hear a message that's different than the same old, same old, same old. Yeah. This is the way you have to do it, because we have to be so self-aware to know where our strengths, where our weaknesses, where do we want to do things, not want to do things, and being honest about those things. Because I think that anybody who's got, like, look, if you're a person who, I mean, do you like people? Just being honest.
I do. When I'm around people in the right environment, I do. I find that what I do isn't for every environment.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. That's fine.
You know,
but obviously there's environments that work for you, and your products.
And I perform on Sunset, and every now and then I get asked to perform at this particular venue on Sunset, and the healing stuff doesn't always work there.
Sure.
You know, but sometimes I'll throw a song in or two just to mix it up, see what happens, just to see what the audience does. I get curious and I want to know what's going to happen. And then there are times where people will come up and go, that song really spoke to me, you know, and I'll be like, oh, well, maybe it does work. But then I'll go again and I'll do the same thing, and then crickets. So it's sort of like,
but can you say in your heart right now that you absolutely know the audiences and the types of venues and places that it resonates?
I do.
Yeah,
I can. I do know.
So
they work well in yoga studios. They work well in retreats. They work well at live events, like motivational events where people are receptive to listening to change. Anyone who's receptive to change, you know, who wants to grow, that's where I do really, really
so I think of my man Ronnie with Poker Runs. Met him back in 2015, and you know, again, some of these older stories that have had a lot of time to take off versus, you know, I meet people like yourself, we have these interactions, and sometimes it still takes somebody 3, 6 months, 12 months to act on what we're talking about. But like, same question, what would you do if you didn't need money? Poker runs, he said. I don't know what poker runs are. Some kind of boat races. But he'd been filming one locally for 4 years for free. Man, nobody wants to pay for these things. Like, they ain't got no money, you know. That's what he's telling me. But he's filming weddings, doing all these other things, all the shoulds, all this is what you're supposed to do, right? All that. Finally decided, I don't want to do those things, just like this editing story. And he ended up reaching out to 300 or 400 poker runs across the United States of America via email, specifically showing what he had in the one that he had done for 4 years for free. And he got, you know, 30 or 40 to respond to him, and he ended up getting on the phone with like 10 or 15 of them. And then he got 5 of them to do something. And one of them did 50 a year, and he got a project for 15. So he ended up, and once we uncovered the, like, you know, I used to be a used car salesman. I feel like a con man when I'm selling people, all that BS too. Removed that BS. And like, he believed in his value. He believed he was worth something. He massively reached out in a specific area that he knew. He got a $50,000 contract with one of those poker runs. He ended up that year, I think, almost making $100,000 with the thing that he had made a dime with in 4 years.
Wow.
Because so for you, when I asked that question, it's like all the things that you just kind of putz around with and don't really want to do and don't really like. And man, it's gonna take me 8 hours. Think of what you could do with the same doggone 8 hours if you did research on who are the venues, who are the people, who are the whatever, that you already have proof. So it's not even like conceptual that you have.
And I have testimonials from people. I mean, beautiful testimonials.
Do you believe in that? Absolutely. If I put you in touch right now, Michelle, with a person who, you know, could pay you $10,000 to come and freaking do it, would you have the like absolute certainty that if you came to this audience that, you know, we don't have to talk about all that, but you know, it's the right audience, right? Based on your heart right now, you know who those people are. And I go, they're the right people. That you'd be able to go, I will crush that for you. They will freaking love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's all. That's what
Yeah.
I would spend rather than 8 hours of how do I produce a podcast of this, of that, all these other things, make 8,000 different snippets. Like just start reaching out and developing relationships. And some will pay you now, some won't. But depending on what your willingness of time and their frequency of doing things are, like the Samcart one, for example, is one I did the first one for free, and I've done that. Sometimes you don't have to do that, but I did that. Then I got paid for the next 3, and then I got that thing for like 9 months. And so, yeah, as Norman's saying, the world needs people like you, and the music is healing and all of that. Like, but your greatest chance of success now, not that you won't have online success, not that you won't be able to benefit in all those various ways, but you're more likely to be able to take advantage of that first, going in the path of least resistance, which will be utilizing your ability to connect and have relationships and utilize the assets you have to use the internet, use your phone to start reaching out and connecting, or using people you already know and going, who can you connect me with? And take that time and open up those doors so you can start playing around with the in-person and the virtual stuff for you to do what you know. Because look, as much as I'm putting some people and whatever in place for after these sessions so they can be consumed elsewhere, that's all cherries on top. My fulfillment is right now. My fulfillment and my joy and my love and my passion is right now. It's live, it's in the now, it's in the interaction. What happens after that, as much as I'm grateful that people could listen and maybe never interact, maybe never show up live and be impacted, that makes me feel good, but like nowhere near what this does. Because if I just did this and like didn't have anybody and I just did the first hour of this session by myself and then like upload it to YouTube and it got 12 views and I look at the analytics, it's like, wow, one person made it past 2.5 minutes. Hell yes. I spent 2 hours making that, baby. Yes. Let's do it for every week for the next year. And then I'm going to explode. It could happen. Yeah, but you got to have a tenacity to want to do that, because you see that people like, I saw a guy recently, he goes, I'm going to make it up, but I loaded 40 videos and got 100 subscribers. And then I got 700 subscribers with my next 4 videos. Right. Like, so there's things like that can happen because you're developing your voice, you get clear, you get this, you get more confident, you get better, whatever. But like, I still go do with what you know now, and that stuff can follow later. But the fact that you keep for years, time passes and you neither have the one that you know that you love work, and you get no closer to being able to make the amount of money you want so that you can just freely go do that. But if you already have that, you know, I'm gonna stop there because I sometimes beat the horse into the ground, but like I want people to hear it. But like, does that make sense? Do you feel good about that? Like reaching out to more people, building relationships, and doing the thing that you know? You can still leverage some of the Samcart and the product and all of that, but you don't have to do it through the traditional like, let me be an online marketer and like run ads or build a social following by weekly creating content. Because that allows you to go play 5 shows in a row, make the money, be smart with money, and have a week off where you can just, you know, crawl up in a cave.
Yeah, I do feel good about that. I think a lot of it is too is getting, like when performing live, is getting paid for one to perform live. So it's being in the right place with the right people. And then on the flip side, and this is like some gigs are good in terms of like for the networking reasons or for video, or you know, you weigh out your pros and cons of why you do something, right? Yeah. And so that's why I have this line, because when I have this line there, it supplements what maybe people aren't willing to pay for, which is like a CD, right? And
that's great. That's a great thing that you have that a lot of musicians or entertainers in that capacity do not have. So that's good.
No, they don't. But I do find that which is good, and I know what to do, but I find that my head does get a little overwhelmed, you know, and I'm a Virgo and I'm somebody who feels like I have to do everything. Yeah. Right. And I do know Fiverr and I do know people who can do stuff for me, but I guess where I'm at is I feel like I have a lot of output, meaning financial output, and not enough input at this point. And I'm getting a little,
you could delete most of that right now. That's why I'm saying, like, I have a deep why to put some people in place to put some stuff out after these Zooms are done. But I'm very, very clear that by default, like when I look at my coaching revenue, just coaching revenue over the last 3 years, like it's through what I'm telling you. It's not through doing these things. Like it's not through like the amount of money I made from 500,000 views on my YouTube channel with 10,000 subscribers and all these other things. Like I can't even fully claim that I made money from YouTube. A lot of the money through coaching that was outside of like relationships with Brian and getting paid from Sam Carr and getting paid from this other guy and stuff came from like, most of them came when I went live like multiple times a week in a group called Full-Time Filmmaker. And then people who liked and commented, I reached out to them and had interactions with them and ended up offering them coaching. But like this, the normal way of succeeding by like building a following and being more e-commerce-esque. My wife's e-commerce. She's better at making money e-commerce than I am. She's made more money in e-commerce than I have my whole life. Like, but I make more money because my transactions $5,000 or $3,000 a month or something like that, $1,000 a month. And hers is selling something for $20. Right. Like, and so for you, that ability to at times be paid more of a premium for your music because it's that live thing, or the fact that you can sell a bunch of that product in an audience that like just
is
gets
receptive.
it.
That gets it. Yeah. And so it's just a matter of it's a balancing act, I find, you know, and then reaching out to the right people and getting that done. I do have a healer that I'm working with. She does events, retreats all over the world, and she works with corporate. And so she tries to get corporate kind of money out of.
She's smart. It sounds like she's got to be.
She's very smart. She used to be a motivational speaker, and she hired me to perform when she was motivational speaking in 2018. She hired me to perform a song on stage to her big event that she had. It was beautiful. Yeah. And then she pivoted to becoming a healer. And so she takes a lot of that knowledge that she had and she brings it into that space. And she helps so many people. And I find it to be really beautiful. And I'm finding that I really like, because I used to think I really like being the boss. Like, because I can be, like, I've got the brain, I could do it, but then I think I'm figuring out that I actually really like being the sidekick better, because I don't really want to do all the things that she does.
And you have to, I have a guy, I played this, I don't know if it'll play, God willing, I hope it plays this time. I'm going to try to play it again here real quick, because I just talked to this guy, and his name's Brandon Hawk, and he actually coached Susie Batiz, who was the owner of Poopery, Poop Spray. Yeah. And he would get $150,000 to $250,000 contracts to coach somebody once a week for 90 minutes. Like, those were the deals. And I was able to become, let's see if this will play.
Nuggets. I've given a lot of perspective nuggets over the years on social media. This right here, top five perspectives that have changed my life forever. Ready? You ready? I mean, this is a golden thread right here, gang. What comes the easiest should demand the most value. Not what is hardest, but what comes easiest should demand the most value. I don't shit on people often, and I am going to shit on you right now. We have learned that what is hardest should then give us the most value or permission to charge the most. No, what you would do for free, what you can do in your sleep, your gift, your genius, that is what should command the most value. Okay. You'll do this, change your life forever. Literally, it will up-level you into a whole new stratosphere of abundance. You ready for that?
So
I love that.
I love it too. And he posted another thing like a week later about that.
Let's all breathe that in, everybody.
I know. Thank you. I forget that sometimes. See, there's other people, different type of modalities. I love that. I appreciate that. Receive it. And he posted something like that, same kind of message like a week later. And I got inspired action, and I freaking called him. I just called him, and he answered the phone. He was in the car, because I'm like, dude, he's in the car right now. He's driving somewhere. He's like in the car recording the doggone video. Yeah. So I answered. He answered. We talked for 20 minutes. He's actually taken his parents' business over now, construction company, and he's like the motivational guy with the 50 employees. And he's like, dude, I'm working with the $13 to $15 an hour guys. And it's so different than working with the 250, or $90 million CEO who has a $90 million company. And he's like, but these are people that he had a heart to help, but it was different. Like, the money he knows of his value that he can get paid, like through their company, 40 years, and he's making a bunch of money through that. But like, I said, but you didn't have to start that company, Brandon. He goes, you're right. I said, because that's something I've found. You're loving this right now, but you weren't a starter. And he said it partnering with people's structures. And he goes, and I said, dude, I find that, you know, whenever I get in the mode of building to, when I stepped into Samcart, when I stepped into this other thing, when I've stepped into people who have the audience, the people and infrastructure and all that, I just do my thing. I have a blast and I've been able to get paid well doing it that way. He goes, you've got to own that. Just like you said there. So that's what we're saying here. Like, you do not have to build these businesses and put all these people in place and do all these things. You do not have to do that. You can also step in other people's structures. There's no shame, right? Remember, the guy trying to run the production company, the more potentials in the production company, but not for him, because it wasn't for him. So the just being an editor made him 10 times more money than doing the thing that had the more potential. So just being a sidekick, owning that will make you 10 times more money than trying to be the thing that you think you have to do. It may happen later for you. That's not saying it's never going to happen, but the resistance to it right now and the frustration around it, the irritation around it, all the things that go with it has you neither doing what you love that often, nor really making it much further along, building this thing that could make you money, that could get you to do more what you love. And so if you just lean into, I'm more sidekick, I know I can take ownership, I know what to do. It's not an intelligence. It's not a lack of competency or capability. It's a lack of desire, right? It's a lack of desire, and that lack of desire, that lack of passion, that lack of love, the forcing it energy, the frustration energy is what keeps it just like a brick wall that's not having it, you can't get through it. But that other area, there's a fluidness to it. There's an effortless, there's a joy, there's a fun, you know, yeah, you're still going to have to reach out to some people, some of that, but in that process, that'll still be more fun than 8 hours and uploading and going, does anybody give a shit?
Does anyone care?
Right?
Yeah.
And then that's demotivating, which then has you just go, I'm just going to curl up, write some songs and play some music to myself. Right? You may love that, but like, there are people to be healed by Michelle. How do you say the last name? Vreeland?
Vreeland, yeah.
Yeah, there's people to be healed by you right now, and they're not being healed by you in your freaking office there right now, right? Or trying to build something that, you know, if all the money in the world came in, you wouldn't go that path. You'd likely go a version of the path I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I've had to give that acceptance to myself. Whenever I do it, I earn more, I have more fun, more fulfillment, more joy. But when I've been believing and allowing myself to be infiltrated by these people, they don't live your life and they ain't paying your bills. Right? The people that sell you all these ways to do things, their way to do things, the systems and the structures. I attract people who don't fit in a box, who don't actually typically work the systems that could work. It's not the system that doesn't work. I can promise you that. All the things you've bought do work. You're not buying from scam artists. They just don't work for me and you. They don't work with the other 20 people on this call. They don't work on the Facebook thing, right? But it doesn't mean they don't work. And when we accept that they just don't work for us and we're likely to not work them, and that's why they won't work for us, then we can focus on the area that we will work on and that we do have fun with. And that'll give us all the abundance that we could ever imagine. Then you have the funds. And if you want to build teams and you find that you want to do that, my lady cuts my hair at Great Clips. It's incredible. They want her to be the manager. She was the manager once. She hated it. She makes more money being the manager. And she also tried to own her own business. And she didn't like that either. She's just like, you know what? I show up to Great Clips. They do the marketing. They get the people. They have all the stuff. I just show up, I cut, and then I go live my life. And that works for her. But that owning that has her a lot more happy than continue to be frustrated every day building something just because she thinks she has to. So I'm done, Michelle.
No, and you know what? I relate to that because I've spent years trying to do and be everything. Like once, because it's easy for me to learn stuff. And I'll be like, well, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. I could start a library. I could do this. I could be that. And then I'll start it and I'll be like, I don't really want to do it. Does that make me a bad person? And then I'll feel bad about myself for not wanting to be that person that, and then I realize, you know what? I got to surrender. I got to surrender to what you're saying. I got to surrender to what, where the magic lies, you know, and focus my energy on that. And it's taken me a long time to figure that out because I think I could be the boss. I could do this. I could figure out all these systems and write the contracts and do all that. And
well, you're looked down upon, like you say, and there's a lot of shame and guilt around the fact that if you're not like, You could do that. And it supposedly is the better, more, businessy or whatever thing that people want to say, but there's nothing wrong. Like there's nothing wrong with surrendering to the fact that this is what I love and this is what I want to do. And this is who I am. And does this have the capacity to make $50 million a year? Maybe not, but somebody else who's far more passionate about doing that. I mean, everything comes with its own level of sacrifice as well. And I know what's important to me. And I know that certain things just somebody else, it's a disservice for me to do things just because I can, and I don't really want to. Like, and there's areas right now where you could just show up in your zone of genius and deliver. Like there are people right now, thousands and thousands of people that that you can get in front of because you've got this product, you've got this kind of method and the way you're going to play and this kind of micro niches you're saying. And there's just tons of people out there that can benefit from you right now without you having to go through years of like more struggle and pain of all this stuff. So I think you get it. Now it's just owning it. That's it. And then go playing in the sandbox that's fun for you and watch the magic emerge for you. And it will. I really have no doubt. Like I used to question it because I didn't have enough. I had plenty of these kind of conversations, Michelle, but I saw no outcomes. I just see a smiling face, some laughs, and like, yeah, I get it. Right. But I didn't see the outcomes of it. Now I see the people that some of them do it immediately. Like immediately are like, boom, and they do the thing. Others, it takes them another year and a half before they surrender. Like the one guy with the editing thing, I did my first coaching with him in 2014. He didn't surrender to I'm an editor when he knew he wanted to be an editor in 2012, but kept running the company. But here I was too. I wasn't the person I am today. I didn't push on what do you really love. I helped people do what they thought they wanted to do, which is why he kept putzing along with the production company because he's like, that's what I want to do. By the time I found him, it's like, help me get more business as a production company. So I did. Now I don't help people do what they tell me they don't want to do. I want them to align back to their heart, what they really love, what lights them up, what lights others up. And when you're in that energy, when you're that vibration, obviously, you get that. So like when you're in that kind of vibration, not a vibration of, oh gosh, stuck. And I don't even know if people care. Like you won't show up in a powerful way. Cause it's like, if you think you know the outcome, which is no one cares, no one's listening, doesn't really matter. It's different than when it's felt. And it's felt when you're in live interaction and connection with people.
You can feel the energy, you can see it, you can feel it. It's like something mystical and magical happens in that moment. And it's like, it feels very real. And and so that's what I live for.
You got this. Own that. Sink into that, receive that, own it, surrender to it. And I'm telling you, things will open up. The next year, you're in and out the year here, do whatever you want to do, but go into 2022 powerfully. And it's looking like by default, overall, that things are really opening up in a lot of ways. So there is going to be a lot of opportunity for you, people wanting to get out and connect with human beings physically. And so there's a real opportunity, and all you've got to do is position yourself to the right people. And all that's going to take is a little sweat and grease, that just the same energy you would have spent. And it's magical because I see that, because I think it and you want to do it. And there's like, am I ready for it? Right? You are ready for it. I know that. Like what you're not, I'm going to be more negative about what you're not ready for is all this other thing right now. All the thing and I know you spent time, energy, and effort there.
A lot, and money.
I get it, but like, and you're paying for these things. I would stop paying for most of those things. Like I had to go through a process that I'm still on a free MailChimp right now because I'm not in a position where I'm like, let me pay $50 a month for MailChimp. Like I just don't care about those things because I'm making my money the way, which is what a lot of the people I'm telling. Like you're going to have an ability to do things right now that align with your soul. And does that matter? Like, I mean, like just because it's like people go to get a degree for whatever amount of time and they don't want to do it. Like who are you helping by continuing to do something that you don't like and you don't want to do just because you've put it's time to surrender and go, it is what it is. I've spent a lot of time on things too that I know I don't want to do it. Like, and so I'm not going to be in pain endlessly because I've already put a year into something. It just is what it is. You let go. And some of it,
the hard part is letting go of of what I've already done, what I've already spent. And,
remember, not all of it is a loss. You have that knowledge. And what I'm saying is through what you're doing in this other arena, you'll be able to more effortlessly fund or have people come into your world. So those talents and skills, it's just, to me, it's out of sequence. Like there's an
Oh,
area.
yeah.
So it's not a throw it in the trash. You're never going to do anything with it, because I do believe that it's important to have the online world, the online, elements of business. And based on what happened last year, I get that. But
Sure.
what I'm saying is that because there's so much frustration around it, and there's an area that is marketable, it is monetizable and you've already done it. Like this is not theory. I'm not talking to a person who's sitting in limbo land with all theory and all ideas and like, I have no proof if people will pay me. I have no proof if people like it. I have no proof of anything. I just know I like it. You know you like it, but you align with people and businesses that also like it and also will pay. I mean, your confidence for like, man, I get in front of people and I sell out. Like that's like at 100 out of 100. And the like other world is it like a 1 out of 100. There's like, oh God, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, but you've got the knowledge. So you go put the
Yeah.
100 out of 100 over here. And people will want to find you. They will want to see you. They will want to purchase also online. They will want to do things over there, but it'll be more effortless for you. And like I said, you can either fund some people, you can do whatever you want, but you can create it your way. But you're going to have that easier if you do that first versus continuing to do this other thing and think you'll do that later. And I think that do what is in your soul now first, and the other thing that you're having so much struggle with can come later. And that'll be a more effortless way of going about it versus the way you're currently going about it. So it's not a waste. None of it's a waste. None of it's a waste at all. I mean, it's a great learning experience. I think it's knowledge that is important to have in a lot of ways. And you'll be able to leverage in different ways, but I think you just have skills.
It'd probably make me a good delegator. Because I'll know how to delegate the email.
I think it's great to delegate stuff that you have an understanding about, which is beautiful, right? It's just,
and I do have an understanding about a lot of the stuff. I
Yes.
mean, in the social media, the marketing, the whole thing. But I don't really, like you said, I don't enjoy doing it.
and you don't have to. That's the key. When you know you don't, if someday you do, 2 thumbs up. But while you don't, either eliminate or delegate. That's how I look at it. When you know you do not like something, if it's not something that, like I said, having a hard conversation with my mom, once I had it, it was great afterwards. It wasn't like it was a hard conversation every time I talked to my mom endlessly. Whereas like, if I don't like doing a certain thing, I might get better at it. It doesn't make me like it more. If I don't want to do it, I'm just going to do it every week going, I don't like this. I don't like this. When am I not going to like, oh man, it's been a year and a half. I still don't like it. Like, but and I got to keep doing it to feed this machine because I've created a machine that requires me to do something I don't like. Versus, can I eliminate it or can I just have somebody else do it? But I do love when I'm going to delegate that I have understanding versus zero understanding, because you can talk the language. You can know you're not getting your wool pulled over your eyes potentially. So yeah, that's where you've got that. And it's a beautiful thing. You don't have to throw it in the trash. It wasn't a waste, but you have skills and talents. You can go in a direction that's more effortless.
And I do want to ask you a question, and this is a logistical question, because my annual membership on Samcart is up in December 11th, and I haven't made a penny, and it's cost me $1,000.
Yep.
And I'm trying to figure out, because I am going to go with your idea of just focusing on live events and being in the right venues with the right people, And I still like the idea of having the table set up with, having this thing going, the pad going where people can buy the Ultimate Mystic Pot bundle live,
Yeah, look, let's just be honest here.
But I'm not sure.
Samcart is not as great for in person. I help my wife at craft shows every weekend in the winter season. She's got PayPal. She's got PayPal for free and a swiper from PayPal that was also like either $20 or free. And you can either scan a QR code for Venmo or PayPal.
And truthfully, I have a web guy who's amazing, and he can make me that page in like 2 seconds. Like like an hour.
Yeah, but look, remember too, the page is necessary for people who aren't convinced of what you have. If you're at a show and you're like, I got a thing, buy it. If they're there, swipe in the back of the room all day long. They're not going to read a long sales page on the thing.
No.
That's for after the fact.
It'll just be swiping.
So when you start getting traffic online, then I would consider Samcart. If you want to design the page, maybe, but I still think that as long as you're going to make more than $350 a year with it, online stuff, Samcart's great. Offline, get PayPal for free and swipe the credit card. We have a $20 swiper, or like I said, free or whatever.
No, I have
PayPal
that
Business.
too. I have
Yeah.
that too. All right. So I guess I just have some stuff to think about, but
Because you can cancel again in the short term. Look, the deal's running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the $350. So you can renew it in 3 months at the same freaking rate. You don't need to pay the $50 a month. It's always running. So you cannot renew it for right now. And maybe some of these other things. Give yourself, look, I did that too. I had thousands.
I spent like $1,000 and I feel so bad about that too,
Yeah, but again, like I had stuff that I was keeping that was literally probably $500 to $800 a month that for years, that's what got me in some of my debt. Like I had things that I just didn't let go of.
You kept thinking it would work. I'll make it work. I'll figure it out.
Just cancel it in the short term. If you
guys should see my whole thing. I have right here. This is like the board of things to do.
Yeah. Eliminate, man. You got one thing to do. It's reach out to people, build relationships, and go play your gigs. Like when you really dumb it down, there might be a lot of things that you want to play around with. You can have as a hobby. It's for fun. But if you dumb down your business right now, it is that was the Ronnie thing. Reach out to poker runs. I filmed for this poker run. It's a big poker run. Here's what I can do for you. Here's how I can do it. Conversations. Here's the price. You show up and do it. Like it can be that simple, but online business and a lot of these people have made people like, it can't just be that. Like it can't just be that. It's got to be this, and all these other things. And so it can be that simple. And I just want you to consider and try that. Give that 3 months of reaching out consistently on a weekly basis to people, reaching out to your already contacts, your already network, have them connect you with people that they already know, have the corporate lady. And what's going to happen as you're doing that though, what I find when you get that kind of clarity, inspired thoughts just start hitting. Who you could call, text that
I already
person.
have ideas. They're already kind of spinning
Good.
In my head of what to do.
But yeah, you can renew all those things. Most of those aren't on contracts. Let them cancel them. Have that, because that's going to help you already. A couple $100 a month or something there. You can have an extra 150, 200, $300 a month that in 3 months time, you could have an extra $1,000. You know what I mean? And then if you want to renew those things in 3 or 6 months, renew them as you need them. Remember, you have the knowledge now, you have the expertise. It all is what it is. It's not a waste, but like, what would you rather do? Hold on to something, be frustrated for the next 6 months and wasting more money, or being out with human beings and healing people, helping people, serving people, and making money? Because one has you probably in the same position as we are now in 6 months, and one has you having a blast. And I really believe that. And
I want to have a blast.
You want to have a blast.
Because when I do it, I love it. So
that's right. Good. And so you know the answer. And I'm so bullish on it. And that's what I'm not telling you what to do. All we did
I love it.
Out of you what you already have proven, what has already worked, and what you love, and getting to go do more of it versus do more of what you don't like, what hasn't worked, and what you've spent a lot of money and time on, but you still have the same level of frustration. And all of the things that you're saying you're frustrated with, they are not going away. So yes, you either shift your mindset, shift your perspective, shift your attitude, because those things are going to keep shifting. You bet your bottom dollar on that.
Sure.
They're never going to stop shifting. So as soon as you're like, okay, I'm great, I'm happy, boom, they throw the algorithm change. Boom, they change the platform. Boom, they do this. They take away. My wife, she used to get thousands of views on stories. Now she gets 200 and she's got 20,000 followers. You know what I mean? So we have to keep playing around with what do we do to overcome these things? Because that's part of the game. There's no joke about that. But one thing you can control is you sending a message, sending an email, sending a text, getting a call, talking to somebody.
And I can do that. I actually, because back in the day, I worked for weddings too, hair and makeup, and I was really good at that. Calling people.
You've got the skills, so you use the same skills for what you love.
I call it the brick and mortar skills. The 90s
you got
skills.
it, girl.
Like how to do all that stuff.
Look, that's an advantage because we are going to a world where everything is so automated, AI. Lack of connection, that a person who actually is willing or likes or is good at those skills, you got an advantage over a lot of people because I really, really believe that. That's why I'm
Oh,
pumped.
can I tell you, I was on 3rd Street in LA and in Hollywood, and I walked into a facial place, right? And it looked kind of unique and cool. And I walk in and I'm looking at the stuff, and these two workers are talking to each other. And they kind of don't really acknowledge me. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, hi. And I was like, I just wanted to ask, like, what's this is all about? Because they were doing it differently. Like it was open space, didn't look like a normal facial studio. And then they literally said to me, oh, all of our info is online.
Yeah.
I was like,
Would you not talk to me? Can you
but
not
I'm
tell me
right
anything? Can you-
here, and can't you just tell me what it's all about and what the concept is? Because it was a unique concept on facial, like how they do it. So I wanted to understand it, but she literally directed me to go online, and I was a physical person in her physical shop.
Look,
And
this
it blew
is,
me away. It blew me away.
let me see if I
I
can
was like,
find
oh,
this.
okay.
I got to see if I can find why you don't have, let's see if I can find this one real quick.
But that's like the world we're living in. It's weird. It's just really strange to me.
I don't know if I saved it, but there was this one guy I follow, and he said, we were at this lady, and she's like, the economy's killed my business, and there's no people anywhere. They put this thing out in front of my building, and no people are coming in. No people are coming in. He's like, I'm in with my wife, and we're walking around. This lady's saying this the whole time, oblivious that we're in there. Walk up, she's still hollering, hooting, hollering. And she goes, oh my God, they're there. And she's like, because she was so set on, there's no people, there's no people, there's no people. Even when there were people, she didn't see the people. And so I guarantee those people probably, she did and didn't, right? There's just this aspect. That's what you're saying. Like those people are probably complaining, but yet they're sitting here with a human being they could make a sale with. And they're like, yeah, we don't have time to talk to you.
And it wasn't full of people. Like they had empty chairs, they had and if they had had a rapport, I probably would have booked something in an hour, I would have been that kind of, but they literally were like, oh, everything's online. You can look on the website.
So see, what you're not going to do is you're not going to go, hey, here's my SAM card link, check it out. Like you're going to be like, let's jump on the phone. You're going to bang it out. You're going to talk it out, and you're going to work it out. And then they're going to hire you, and you're going to make a bunch of money doing your thing versus trying to make a $20 sale, one person at a time, or running some of the ads. Like, again, that stuff can come, but you've got the skills, the talent, the expertise, the know-how, and the confirmation of the other areas. So I'm pumped for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for this. This has actually been a lot for me. I needed this.
Good.
I needed this. I was meant to come on here right away.
I know you started out. I'm an information
I did.
overload.
I literally just opened my Facebook page, and there you were. And I was like, there he is. Hi. And then I just said hi. You popped in.
I know. And I love it. That's all it takes. And remember, like life and business can be that simple. That's why right now, like the joy you're going to bring to these reach outs, inspired texts and messages, like I'm amazed at this is a reminder to me. I mean, this is not like, I'm just telling you because I'm above and some high and mighty mountaintop person. Like this is a reminder to me as I speak this into you today, I'm speaking it into myself as well, because like, I need that reminder. I got beat over the head for a decade too of this is the way you should do. I had massive success in video doing it my way. And then I floundered around as a coach, having the best of the best as my mentors for a decade. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? I feel like an idiot. And it's because I followed the opposite. I tried to do it their way, which didn't align with me and who I am. And that's why I'm so bullish on like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's what do you love? Because what you love, you'll find the answers because the answers are within you already. People say that and I always feel crazy, but it's like when you align with this way that's more effortless and flow and fun and fulfilling for you, the right people, just like this, that was already in you. And I just unlocked in you now something that was there. All of that was there. I didn't make up a bunch of stuff for you. I just gave you permission and confirmed and affirmed what was in your heart that I drew out of you. Whereas a lot of people, a person who's selling a program, an online program, would never have told you anything I just told you. They would have been encouraging you to do the thing that you don't like and you don't want to do. And you just would continue down a path of frustration. I just know that. I see it all day, every day. So, and I'm tired of it, which is, so.
You're preaching today, man. I needed this because I just was feeling kind of down on myself that I couldn't really figure it out. And it kind of made me feel bad in terms of like, well, I'm not good at these things and this and that, but I know that I'm good. Like I know when I show up somewhere,
Yes.
there's an audience
received.
for it, but it's
Yep.
a matter of like when I'm not in there. So anyway,
You're
but
not
we're
standing.
saying-
No,
we're
yeah,
saying
no.
is
And
it was-
I'll end
yeah.
there on that. Like, look, when I've told my wife this recently, been a number of things happening behind the scenes and stuff and different things. And like, I haven't ridden my bike in like a month for various reasons of things that have happened. And it has been cold, but I didn't warm up. Like there's whatever, some are excuses, some are not, but I haven't. It's the bottom line. I haven't.
Yeah.
And like, I feel that because I know riding my bike is a time that I have creative ideas and flowing. So I know the things in my life that light my soul on fire. And I feel it when I do too little of it. So for me, I get to do stuff like this every week. This lights my soul up. But if I don't do this, I don't ride my bike, I don't walk. And all I do is like, I love my puppies and I love my wife. This may or may not come out right when I say this, but I love my puppies and I love my wife. But you know, like if all I do is spend time with them all day long, then I do get tired. Like that's one thing I love, but like, I can't just do that, nor can I just do this.
Exactly.
Like I love there's things. And when I know they don't have to be a perfect science, doesn't mean I ride my bike every day. I might not ride my bike for a few days, or I might not do this for a few days sometimes. But if I don't do this for a week or two, I don't ride my bike for a month, I start feeling it. So if you haven't played a gig or been in that presence or done that thing with humans besides being alone, you're feeling that. Right?
Yeah. And actually, I'm so glad you said that because it's so true. And instead of me recognizing that, I've been internalizing as like, it's my fault.
And
I'm
it's
the
not.
problem.
Yeah,
I'm the one that's like, I'm sad because of blah, 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 because I'm not doing the Sam Cart thing, or I'm not doing this, I'm not, but you're so correct on that, because in July, when I did the retreat, it was a 4-day retreat. It was so beautiful.
Yes.
It was amazing, everything about it. And I left there on a high. Everyone left on a high. I still connect with those women after the fact. You know, we have a text thing that we go and it's just like so beautiful. And I want more of it. I want to do it every month, every several times a month. Like I want.
So get clear on that. That's for all of you. Like for all of you listening, set those. You have to push your limits to know your limits. So you might say,
and it was exhausting too. Don't get me wrong. It was exhausting.
Yeah.
And I needed a week of rest after the fact. But to do that every month or even twice a month would be perfect for me.
Perfect. That's perfect.
You know, and to make at least $1,000 a day, which I know that I could
for sure
doing that at least
for sure.
That would be fulfilling to me. That would be perfect, a perfect life. And then traveling the world and going wherever, and then anything in between, you know, whatever shows pop up in between, you know, all of that.
Beautiful.
That's something I would love to do. I would love that.
That's what you got. That's what you have to own that can 100% happen. And the way you've been trying to do it, it's in my mind, in my heart, less likely to happen. Yeah. Those things can happen later, but the energy and vibe and what it's doing to your self-esteem and self-worth and self-confidence is killing you inside. Right. Yeah. And so this other path will light that soul on fire and have you have the probability of one. I mean, that's not a lot to ask. A couple shows, you know, a couple shows a month, 8-9 months out of the year, some travel in between, little ancillary things, and then getting yourself where you're bringing in 3,000 to 5,000. It could be more. I'm not sitting here trying to limit people, but what happens is people don't make any money or very little money doing what they really love. They spend so much time with this stuff that sucks the soul out of them. And then you're not motivated to do it or what you love. And so when you start letting go here at the end of the year of these bills that are holding you back, all this old stuff that's an old energy, you can keep the knowledge, keep the experience, but you channel that into the area. You spend all the time that you were, and remember, positive energy, unfortunately, negative things drain us like 10x over positive sometimes. Like the more you're spending in things that are draining, that much less you have for the thing that enthusiasm.
Well, there's this Miles Decker guy, you know, he's like a total online guru guy.
Okay. I haven't heard of him actually. I've heard of a lot of people.
Miles Decker. Yeah. He's this guy, but he says you only get a certain amount of brain glucose a day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you have to choose wisely where you put your brain glucose, because even if you think this task is easy and it's going to get done and you'll realize that you don't have enough brain glucose to do the other things that you actually really wanted to do. And I'm finding that even though I've heard this like years ago, a year and a half ago, I'm finding that it's so true.
Yep.
Because if I sit and I try to sit and I do the whole Sam Cart thing, or I do this, or I do all these things I know how to do, by the end of the day, I don't have time. I don't have the brain glucose or the energy
Yes.
to do the things that I really want to do.
And everybody
Like
listening
you're
has to
talking about.
remember that what you're saying, those activities will be different for everyone.
Sure.
Right. So me and you are alike in the sense that if I do too many computer-esque activities and detail-oriented things, I'm like you. I don't have the energy by the end of the day to do anything else. This kind of stuff, there's people the opposite of us that this is not a dream come true to be on Zoom, like not just Zoom, like just talking to people. You know what I mean? Like
people in live.
yeah. You know, sometimes they like it, but more times than not, they really don't, you know, and I have a gal that used to talk to, she'd be like, Michael, I don't talk to anybody on the phone. And if I do, I'm off the phone in 10 minutes. But when I talk to you, it's like 2 hours, but I like it and it flies by. So like, but that's a dream come true for me to be on the phone with somebody for 2 hours. For her, outside of like special circumstances, like she doesn't want to be on the phone at all. So she's built a life that it doesn't. And so for you, it's recognizing those activities that give you life and the activities that don't. For anybody listening, it's the activities that give you life and those that don't. And you need more that give you life than don't. Because when you have more that don't give you life than do, that's a bad recipe for any kind of, you know, joy, happiness, and fulfillment. But I do have to jet here. I could go on. I've been having a blast jamming with you today. Let's do our little.
I know, me too. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're awesome. This has been so much fun. So give me a look at that camera. Thumbs up today.
I know. Thumb it up.
Oh, wait, you did that so fast. I'll let you know when you can take it away. Be cheeseball for like until I say, here we go.
Oh, like this. Oh, yeah.
There you go. All right, I got it. I take a screenshot. That's how I do it. Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, that's all good. You rock. Michelle, I'm excited for you. And I love the passion, the energy. Like you've got the right attitude is there, right? There's not a lot holding you back besides a path that's holding you back.
Yeah.
Looks like your headspace is in a great space. You've got proof of things. You're powerful. You're ready. You're rock starring, like you got the music, you're flowing when you write the music. I could tell all that's aligned. So now just take the old skills from the wedding and the makeup stuff, knock that out for what you love to do, and watch the dominoes start falling and things going in place.
I'm excited. I'll definitely keep you updated in 3 months. We'll see where I'm at.
That's right. That's right. And it's good. This is a good time because, you know, a lot of these things will be ramping up February, March, April, May. I mean, I started to film a lot of retreats and conferences starting around February, March through like July. And then they pick back up like August through, you know, beginning of, you know, end of October. So
yeah. And I'll send you some of the music if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like
I'd love to send me some stuff that you got and these links and different things. I'd love to check it out. Make sure.
I could probably even send it in the chat for everyone who's here if they want.
That'd be great.
I might even
put all your stuff there for sure.
Oh, it's right there. Here it is. This is the press kit to the Mystic Pop Music, and they can just go through it. They can read about me. They can listen to the music, all that fun stuff.
Are we connected on Facebook too?
We are actually. That's how we became connected on here. I am on your email list, but the Facebook one prompted me. Let me see. Did you send me a messenger message and then I'll pop.
I must have missed. And there's me not being great at the social all the time. So it looks like you sent me something and I never responded. I apologize.
It's fine. I
was back in September. Yeah. So
yeah,
cool.
That was the day.
We have a mutual friend, Bob Baker.
Oh yeah, I've known Bob a long time. He's in the music space.
He lives local to me.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was teaching music marketing before it was a thing, honestly. And so that's how I got connected with him.
Cool.
So yeah.
Awesome.
And I know a lot of these people. I know Derek Sivers, you know Derek.
Oh my God, I love Derek. I love his book.
I've been
That's another guy.
I've been his pen pal, his email pen pal since 2008.
Oh, that's so cool. I love his audiobooks, one of my favorite audiobooks.
Yeah, I've got one of his books right here, Derek Sivers. And if anyone here, I'm telling you, these little books are amazing. I mean, he is a brilliant
Anything
mind.
You Want, his audiobook, Anything You Want is one of my favorite audiobooks of all time. Like he resonates with me. So like,
I've got everything. I've got everything he's ever put out. He's amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's like me. That's why you need to listen to more Derek Sivers, because the reality is he's like us. And, he had the success he had because he's doing the resonance with
I
himself.
think he may be more genius than us, because he's really good with creating he knows, he's a computer nerd. So he really knows how to make, like he can code, like there's no business. He can make stuff like he's a genius.
But my point is not of that, but
I know what you mean.
my way, like the idea that he does things his way and not the ways that others.
He's really good at cutting through the crap.
Yes.
And I love that. And you're that way too. You're really good at that. I get very cluttered. I get, ooh, this, that, this. Oh, this is a good idea.
It's all good.
But internally, I do know exactly what I need right now.
You got this.
Every once in a while, I need a friend to go,
What I'm here for.
like this moment, right? Like this moment.
I love it.
But
All right, Michelle, it's been an honor and a pleasure today. I appreciate you. Thank you for being on here, and thank you for reaching out. And please keep me posted. And I got your message here. I'll send you our picture, and then just keep me posted on things. So
that'll be great. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll see you later.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Awesome, everybody. Wow, there's a lot of chat to read here. So great. Love it. Everybody, super amazing. Thank you, Michelle. Let's throw the couple links in there. Facebook, anybody connect on Facebook as well. Hopefully grab the link for Michelle. Michelle, go on the Facebook Live and put it in the chat. So if anybody is checking this one out later, you can get in the Facebook group, mindtuneuptimelive.com, and it'll be in the chat there as well, because the link is easy to repeat over the thing for any listeners outside of this. So we'll put that in the Facebook there as well. And then appreciate you all so much. And I'll throw the Powered by the People. Anybody wants to help this out, rock that out. You get value from this. I'll put that in the chat. Like I said, you can give $1 once. You can give $1 a month. You can give $20 once, $50 once, $50 a month, $20 a month, whatever you want to do. Cancel anytime, but there's there to make a one-time or a multi-recurring if you get value from these sessions. I love doing this. I love bringing this available to all of you, in a way that, you're not having to pay tens of thousands of dollars. It's my mission to do what I know how to do well with people who can pay me super premiums to do it. I have some other things available, but as well, having this message and this stuff out there for people so that people of all walks of life can get access to something without having to buy into another $5,000 or $10,000 program to hear, messaging that can help them, unlock what's right for them right now and where they're at today. And I'm grateful for this technology. I'm grateful for the way that things are. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Much love to Michelle for being on here. I appreciate this. I'm glad it was helpful for you and everyone else on here. I'm excited after this renders out to read through the chat. I appreciate every single one of you who show up here every week. And much like my man Norman's up here every week, but Norman's telling some people to show up. Whoop, gosh dang, hurt y'all ears there. But tell a friend, share these things. However, if they can't make it live, like I said, they're on podcast now. The last 7, this will be the 8th one getting upload on favorite podcast platform. You can search Mind Tune Up Time. It's on YouTube, Michael Gebbin, Mind Tune Up Time. Then there's a Facebook group, and we go live on Zoom every week. So there's plenty of ways for people to get access to the content. And of course, it's magical to show up live. So I appreciate you all. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you all next week. Keep rocking, keep rolling. Much love. Follow your heart. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.